Welcome everyone to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week, kind of, although we're doing a book club and this is a continuation, so it's a similar topic to last week. But anyway...
But still new because the content is new.
Part 2.
I'm Alex, aka the Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Pseudo45.
I am Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if we're doing a book club and we're talking about the same content or the same topic, might have to change that intro.
Might need to rework it, yeah.
Maybe somebody who wrote the intro should change it.
Also, I need a new outro. So.
I know you do. I know
you're busy. I only bring it here.
And you're just sitting in a bourgeoisie hotel doing nothing, so...
I see it. First of all, I see it on my reminders all the time, because I have reminders as a widget.
Because I hit dismiss on it.
I see it constantly. Also, I'm not in that fancy of a hotel doing nothing, but I'm not going to turn my camera and show everybody what I'm doing because I just have crap everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, I'm working, unfortunately. Yeah. Here in good old Charlotte, where I tell you what, downtown Charlotte, I guess technically I'm uptown Charlotte is what they consider it when I got off the exit.
The uptown funk, right around
Not
there.
a lot of stuff goes on here.
Uptown funk you up.
I'm across the street from the basketball arena, and because it's not basketball season, there's nothing. This place is dead. Yeah. You walk around the street, won't see a person. It's ridiculous.
Well, and Michael Jordan is trying to sell that team anyway, so.
Is he?
Yeah, did you not see that?
No, I didn't. I saw all the articles I see recently are like, Michael Jordan seen outside of his house in Jamaica. And I'm just like, why do I care about this?
Oh, no, yeah, he's trying to sell the Hornets.
Oh. That's fair.
And the whole city's ecstatic about it. They're very happy because he's a bad owner.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting on why as an owner you would sell now when you went through years of terrible Bobcats teams and now you're actually on an uptrend and you're like, now I'm gonna sell.
And an uptrend is kinda, but
kind of.
But either way, it's clear he can't make the moves happen that you would want to happen to,
Yeah.
Get a championship caliber team, so let it go.
Yeah, so let it go. I hope he does let it go. So anyway, let's dive into our stuff. Preston, any comments for the comment corner? I actually meant to leave you one, and I forgot. And I'm not going to ask you now because it would require too much forethought from all of us. Yeah. So I'll save it for next time.
Save it for next time. Nothing from the fans, just something from me. Christian, how's that bidet?
Oh, I never brought this up, so it's good. I'm a believer.
Yeah, feels good.
Yep. Yeah, for those who don't know, you wouldn't know because I didn't bring it up. But it was 2 weekends ago now. I don't remember whenever we did, but Alexa and I got a bidet. We also got a water pick, the water flosser things.
Okay.
Both are very good. Yep.
Nice. Good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
It's funny, Allie. I told you guys know I have bidets all over our house.
Yeah.
But Allie a few months ago
swimming
bought a water pick. Swimming in them. They're swimming in me. I don't know how bidets really work, but but Allie bought a water pick a few months ago, and it's nice. It's nice. She got one of her work does dumb things for healthy pathways insurance things. So if you hit all these milestones, you just get free points, and that's what she bought with it. And it is good. I like the water pick. I'm a fan.
It's good. I like it. My biggest complaint about it is that there's no way to just hook it up to your water so that it can just fill itself.
So you just kind of fill up with water and then...
Yeah, you fill it up and then you do it. You fill up a tank, right? And you set it in there and then it just sort of pumps it out at you.
Okay, yeah.
But the problem is there's many a night that you come and you're just I don't got it. And then you reach down for All Reliable and there's some regular floss right there.
Mm-hmm.
You're just
sitting on my living room table. I can do it on my couch.
That'll do, pig.
Ew.
That'll do.
Ew. What? On your couch? Well,
yeah, I'm sitting there watching TV.
You dig under the cushion and you pull out and you're
No, I don't find it. I have it sitting nicely on my table. Waiting for me to be I need to floss my teeth. Yes, I could do that.
That's what it sounded like, for sure.
Yeah.
Preston, Preston is just a year or two away from hitting official old man status where he just carries a toothpick with him all the time.
You're not wrong. It's very, very close. I just don't have any on me.
Just like mid-conversation. Have you guys ever... So my grandparents are very Southern, but have you guys ever been in those situations with family or like older people from that pre-boomer generation, right? And literally mid-conversation, just like pull out a toothpick and just start like going at their teeth and just like...
even that, or they'll have so many in their pocket they'll be like, "You need one? Anybody
Yeah,
need
it's
one?"
like, no, thanks.
Like they'll
No,
just
they
offer.
need
It's
to
like,
put their
"No, I
pocket
don't.
lint in my fucking
I don't
mouth."
need your pocket toothpick." Yeah. Well, they'll usually like the
Clean it off.
I don't need your pocket toothpick.
some people that I know, like the people that they would have them like they would still be
Jesus.
wrapped in the plastic, so they'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you
No, I
know,
don't do that.
"You want one?" I'm like, "No, I'm still good. I don't
Bad
want
for the
one."
environment. Don't do that.
Is it? It's just
What's
one.
bad for the environment?
Yeah.
Individually plastic wrapped toothpicks when you can buy a whole
okay.
fucking thing of just normal
Oh,
Sure.
toothpicks.
Yeah, but if you just recycle it, then
Preston just walks around with a plastic tube full of like 150 toothpicks.
So I usually have in my kitchen. I just don't have any right now.
I
Yeah, but do you use
them,
them for
brother.
picking your teeth or do you use them for baking?
Baking.
Exactly. Yeah, I have the same thing. But I'm not
I could
walking
use them to
around
pick my
with
teeth if
it.
I want to, if I need to.
But-
Fucking crack one of those bad boys open. Yeah. I got a scar right here that you know loves to catch some shit. You know, picky pick. But I got floss too. It's fine.
Oh man. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's talk about our stuff. Yeah, let's. Oh, did you have something already?
Well, I was gonna say, so I played the least amount of games out of anybody here.
How do you know? You don't know.
I don't know.
Because I haven't
How do
finished
you?
anything.
You first of all,
'cause you haven't finished a
just
game.
because- it doesn't mean anything if you
I'll
don't
tell you-
finish
here,
it. Doesn't
here's-
mean you've played less.
here's how-
This is
I'll tell you.
trials.
Yeah, I started Trails Cold Steel 3. There's nothing I can say about it because everything is a spoiler. They've updated mechanics. It is really cool to play. I don't quite have a grasp on the combat yet because they changed so much of it. It's like a giant leap forward. And I play the new 14 patch. It's good. Preston and I played more Exoprimal. Also good. That's it. That's all I've played. I haven't played anything else.
You want to talk about the 14 patch? You can talk about it. We're only like 8 minutes
Or-
in, man. We need
Or,
filler.
There's
or
nothing to
Exo,
talk about-
or
no,
Exo
but-
Primal. We all played Exo Primal since
we
the last.
We
That's
actually
what
have
I
since the
had,
last time we did. Yeah, we both
Yeah.
played it. But we there's nothing to say about the 14 patch. Alex is the only person who knows anything about it. It's
Yeah.
we're so deep in
There's
the
people out there
things
who
that I
might want to hear
can.
it.
Huh?
There's people out there who might want to hear it. I enjoy hearing about it.
No, it's
No,
fine.
no.
Okay.
There's no one. No, the only thing that's relevant is that I got into an argument in the internet with somebody over it, and I regretted it immediately.
Well, you did something in
Um,
14. You completed a fancy platforming puzzle. Or a platforming challenge.
I did. I beat the Kugane jumping puzzle finally.
Yes.
That was a pain in the ass, but it was very difficult. But I did do that. yeah.
Christian picked a fight on the internet, and at the same time, I stopped myself from picking a fight on the internet because
Oh,
I had
big
better
boy.
judgment that day.
But we were synced up because we almost
We were
yeah.
were synced up. Yeah, we both did it. One of us we just took
One of
two
us
different
acted
paths
on our
in this
impulses.
multiverse.
Yeah, the butterfly effect. Yeah. So
Can I say, I'm sorry, this is such an aside, and it's gonna, I don't want to derail us too much, but I had something happen the other day.
Uh-huh.
I started going through comments on the internet, and shit
First-
like this is
first
the
mistake.
no. This is the reason I wake up in the morning. It had nothing to do with anything I care about. I see this clip on Instagram of Taylor Swift, who's like in slow motion, and she's pulling off this devil mask, and apparently it's like from some new music video or something.
Sure.
sure.
Anybody who likes Taylor Swift, I'm sure you know exactly what music video
Yeah,
it is.
I do.
And I love Taylor Swift, so I'm sorry.
I think-
Sure, but it's this. It's
Oh,
this,
you're a Swiftie, Preston?
I like
It's
music
just-
videos. I think they're nice. Her songs are good. They're fine.
It's this.
Nice.
This is relevant, but it's this white, blonde hair, blue eye girl that said something along the lines of like, I was excited to go see Taylor Swift, and then this, and it's that little clip, and I'm like, well, let me turn this up. So the music isn't the actual music. It's this like ominous like chanting you might hear in like a horror movie or something. So I'm like, so clearly I can tell with context that this poor white conservative is upset
The
about this
devil.
devil imagery, which means I have to read these comments.
Oh, sure.
Boy, did they not disappoint. I probably read 300 of them. And you would think, well, Alex, that's an incredible waste of time. Like, why would you read so many? And the answer to that, dear listener, is because it started with a few nuggets of Taylor Swift has gone downhill since she left country music, which is like decades ago. So,
but also
get
it's
over
just
it.
so
But-
factually incorrect because she's constantly
Sure.
made
No, but-
more
but
and
then-
more money.
Well, but so that's where it started, and then it quickly, and I mean like just a couple comments down, quickly devolved into the reason I showed up, which was people saying, all of you idiots haven't seen it. She clearly sold her soul to the devil, like everybody.
Yes,
Look at
yeah.
all of these people that started off in country, Lil Nas X and other people, and you see how Sam Smith, they even mentioned, they're like, and you see how the devil takes hold, and look how many millions she has now, and you only get that if you sold your soul to the devil. And I say, dear listener, this is why I came, and I was
Can I just tell you
so
how,
happy.
how out of
I would
touch I am with pop music or pop culture in general? Is that when you said Sam Smith, my immediate thought was, why are they talking about the journalist for the Chicago Bulls? That's literally where I was at.
Now, I think Sam Smith was all right for all of those same people until he came out as gay, which was very quickly. And
Again, I still have
and-
no idea who this is, but continue.
a singer.
Sure.
Clearly.
Well,
right?
yes, yeah.
But yeah, and I love conspiracy theories. Like they just,
Oh, they're the best.
I will
They're the
never
best.
get sucked in to one, right? But I love listening to people try and rationalize these things. And yeah, that was the day before. I almost picked a fight on the internet and decided not to about something else. But the stuff like that is why I wake up in the morning. They're so good. Just
Mine
watching
was-
how like these people walk around every day.
Yeah.
And
They
live
do,
a life.
and they breathe, which is crazy because you think about it and you're just like, the amount of brain power that they're already devoting to whatever crackpot theories they
Yeah.
come up with
Yeah, it's amazing.
already takes up so much. The fact that they still remember to inhale and exhale at the same time.
Yeah. So anyway,
Mind
that
blowing.
was very, very aside.
Yeah, mine wasn't that. Mine was just a streamer who was complaining about a game. I'm not, but then I was like, "This is stupid," and the only reason you think this is because you have to play this game 24 hours a day for a fucking job, and no company should ever listen to your opinion, because if I wanted a game to feel like work, I wouldn't play video games. It would be very stupid. No one likes that. It's the antithesis of fun. No, we did play Exoprimal though. I will say, a thing that so we played it together, and then Preston and I played like probably 10 matches on our own after that.
Yeah.
Significantly improved when Preston and I played.
Not
Because-
because Alex wasn't there.
No, not at all.
Let's put that on the floor for him. I'm waiting for him to say it, but he's not saying it.
I was just waiting to see where it went because he
I know.
gave the because and he
Yeah.
just waited. But it was
No, I
definitely-
didn't.
It was
I
definitely
didn't-
the way it was said. It was just like significantly improved.
I didn't-
just Preston and
Damn.
I.
No,
Son.
I did
So-
not. I did not pause. I just got interrupted, and so that's where. No, I didn't. But anyway, so it was significantly improved, mostly because there was the people that we were playing against. Like everybody had already sort of figured out, like, oh, okay, all 5 of us just can't be DPS, or all 5 of us can't be tanks, or everything. Like
You only need
there
one
was
support
one
hero.
match. Yeah, there was one match where Preston and I, like, it was really just Preston, but it was some dude. Preston launched his support. Some dude changed his support, and then was like wanting Preston to get off, and Preston was like, no. So then the dude was like, oh, okay, well then I just won't play in a suit. I'll just play as a regular pilot, just running around.
Were you
I was
guys
like,
communicating?
No, so I don't know if he
No.
was actually doing that. I think it was just I was trying to decide, like, is he gonna change? Am I gonna change? And I hadn't changed yet, so he got out of the suit and didn't put on a suit for like
and
the
just
first
say to
checkpoint.
like to protest basically.
Okay, got
And
it.
so it was super annoying. But other than that, everybody was like, okay, let's just do, like, I'll play whatever, just as long as we can.
And I'm okay with
you
jumping
know.
off and playing around.
Yeah. So there was that piece, but also Preston and I both switched the AI voice to Japanese. And I can't even describe to you the level of quality.
Does
yes.
it give you subtitles?
Yes.
Okay.
But the voice is much better. It's easier to listen to, and in Preston's case, he goes, half the time I don't even understand what he's saying, so it doesn't bother me when he tells me I'm doing objectives too slow.
Yeah, because that was the problem we had. Like, I mean, you, Alex, mentioned it too. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't
just
need you
constantly.
telling me that we're losing every time. You hit a checkpoint, it's like, you're doing it slower than the other team. I'm like, I don't need you telling me every fucking time. When it's in Japanese, I don't know they're fucking saying it. It doesn't hurt as much.
And it's also like it's not that long either. So it's like every 3 minutes, it's just like you're behind, you're doing it.
And you
slower
can
than
usually
the
see
other
them,
team.
and they're
Thank you.
right there with you, like maybe
Yeah.
like a second or two more. Yeah.
So I know this is the first time that we're talking about this game.
Yes.
Since because of the way we did the recordings here. So, but I think since all three of us, but like it's a for those who don't know, it's like a mix between like Dino Crisis, EDF, and Overwatch. Like
I would agree.
is the mashup there. So like these giant dinosaurs are like pouring out of these portals, and there's an AI that's basically controlling this island. The story is pretty much just barely there. It's like Monster Hunter or anything else. But then you are doing Overwatch style objectives asynchronous to another team. And then at the end, you have the choice. It depends. If you're playing the PvP mode, then at the end, you will all compete in a final objective against each other where you can fight each other and do these things. Or if you're just playing the PvE mode, it's just a plain race where you cannot interact with each other whatsoever, right?
I like the idea. Sorry, this is just quickly. I actually like the idea of doing whichever happens, because I don't want PvP all the time if we're getting our butts kicked every game. However, I also the race after a while kind of to me gets boring. So I like the mix-up of
Yeah, so
whatever comes, right?
That's what Preston and I ended up doing. We just did random because one, you get the experience bonus, and then two, it was just a nice switch up. You would just be like, sometimes it'd be the PvE one, sometimes it'd be the PvP, and you just be like, cool, whatever, doesn't matter. The other thing about the game is, so reviews are kind of middling right now, I would say, but what's really funny is most of the reviews, if this is a situation that rarely happens, it happens sometimes with certain games, but a lot of the complaints that people have are either, like, somebody was like, there's one person who was like, there's one mode. And it's like, there's multiple modes, but then it's like, when you find out and you look and you have, the internet sleuths that dig down, they do more, that's like, oh, dude, you played one match and then started to write a review. Okay, well, that's not real, right? Like, that's not enough to see what everything has to offer, especially because as you go through the game, I found this out, is that there's a random chance after a certain amount of time that a whole separate thing comes up where a 10-man raid kicks in, where 10 people then are brought together, and there's like a T-Rex that you have to fight, like all sorts of wild shit, and you fight it and all work together, and then you get like it's like a giant experience bonus for that one popping off and doing it. And the T-Rex is apparently like out of this world crazy to fight. Like one of the characters that can fly, like the healer that can fly a little bit, it literally jumped off the ground and grabbed it out of the air. Damn. Because like that's so that you can't just sit there and do like it's balanced very well and all this other stuff. I say all that though to say that as I was reading some of the reviews, because Preston and I had a really good time with it, and I was like, I think I might be locked in. Like, this is really fun. I don't know that I would go purchase it on Steam, but I'm definitely down to like keep playing it through Game Pass and then toss them money for their Battle Pass or whatever it is, right? Like I thought that this is actually really good. And so I was like, I wonder what reviews are saying, and I was like, God, none of this is like my experience at all. And then I was like, I'm gonna go look, and so I looked to see. I went on a subreddit for it, the subreddit for it, I should say, and all of it is it just keeps growing, and it's people just like it is nonstop positivity about the game, like people just
nice,
stoked, having fun with it, all this stuff. But then the best part is that it's like they're calling out certain like review outlets and being like, did you guys read this? Like, this person, it's clear they didn't even play the game. Like, there's not even like details about X, Y, or Z in there, all this other stuff. So I thought it was kind of nice to see that, you know, because I think too often a lot of stock gets put into games media as far as like just review scores in general. Like, you know, like if somebody comes out and they're like, oh, this is a 7 out of 10. First of all, I think the review scale in and of itself is something that needs to be addressed because people see 7 out of 10. People use 7 out of 10 to describe like a middling or okay game when really like
It's a good game.
that should be 5.
Yeah.
Like 5 is dead middle, right? Like, so, but that's a whole other. Maybe that's a side quest one day. Who knows?
Yeah,
but,
we should.
But yeah, but it's too often I think games media can just like absolutely crush a game before it's released, especially a game that is trying to do like an online sort of thing. And so to see a community still be built around it and having fun and being like ultra positive about it was actually kind of cool to see.
Well, I think the problem when it comes to those reviews a lot of times is there's too much writing and opinion on behalf of the writer, right? So like,
yeah,
it's either the game is good because I liked it or the game is bad because I didn't like it. But there's nobody that writes an article that the game is good but not for me.
Or
so for
even
like Exoprimal, I'll be honest, like I'm not going to play that without you two. It did not hook me. It was not my jam. Like I enjoyed what I played and I enjoyed playing with you guys. So like I could hop on, but it was like Overwatch in that sense, to where like by myself, it's not going to be the game I go to.
You want the team,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine because there were things that like I did like. I liked the characters that I played. I really enjoyed the tank that I played and stuff. But there were things I didn't like. I thought the streets and stuff sometimes were a bit too cramped. You could afford to have more area open up and stuff like that. But like it's a good game and the acting was really fun and it knows what it is. Like it's super goofy and it just doesn't even try and be that serious. And I love that. But I think it's fine to say it's just not for me. But there are plenty of people that will enjoy that, and that's never really said in articles.
Right.
It's either like the game is good or the game is bad, and that's just not how games work. If it was for everybody, there'd only be a few games, but there's hundreds and thousands of them for that reason. So
yeah, and I think that's the thing is like and I don't even know that you have to say like in your writing. I don't even know that you can say like, oh, this is clearly a good game. It's just not for me. I think you can even if you don't even want to go that deep, you can just be like, look, here's my pros and cons list for the games. Here's the things I don't like, and here's the things I do like. And then as like your readers are more in tune with what your taste is, right? Then someone can go like, oh, okay, these things he doesn't like, I actually know from that I do like, so this might be right up my alley, right? As opposed to the only thing that gets, you know, posted on social media is the quick clip, like little things of like, game fails to deliver on blah, 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 should be this, could be better, 6 out of 10. And then everyone's like, all right, well, seems like it sucks then, I guess.
you know
It's
what
like-
I've been doing more though when it comes to game articles? I get to the bottom and read the about the editor that everybody puts, and you just start to notice that especially in the gaming industry, there are no journalists. Like can't tell you the last time I read a bio that was like graduated
Not
from
anymore.
journalism
It used to
school
be,
and
but
did
not
this, right?
anymore.
Now it's just like worked for 3 months as a game developer, loves playing Red Dead Redemption and blah blah blah. In their own time, is a huge fan of Rockstar, and like it's just a bunch of young people, and not I don't know how young, like my age included, like all of us, right?
Yeah.
But it's people that don't actually have writing journalism experience. It's just people from that field, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying you can't write an article. However, you should have to take some of those things with a grain of salt when it comes to like their judgment, because people don't know how to write in
And the other thing,
a non-biased way sometimes.
Here's like, so there's a couple things with like, because when we were growing up, that's all that was there was journalists. Like it was people with journalism degrees that came and did it, or there were people who like Jeff Gerstmann, who was just on the ground floor. Like he was, before anybody was covering it, he was covering it, right? So like people just, there's also people who just like fell into it, right? I don't want to like, you know, anybody can, especially with the whole like games as art thing and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. Like anybody can criticize it, right? Like we do it.
You don't have to
here.
go to school to do it. Like I'm not saying like you have to have a degree, but it is.
But I think that there's something to be said about the influencer style review,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, if you have to score it, whatever. Like I understand, like sites need scores to drive clicks to do things. Like it's always been a thing. Like even, people are always like, we should use a scale that's like, buy it, rent it, don't pick it up, whatever. And it's like, that's still rating it. Like we're like, even though you're changing it, like you're still giving it a rating of some kind. But like, the part of the problem is that I think with the influencer style thing, it's more of like I need to, like, they write in a way that's like, you can trust me, I am the arbiter of taste kind of thing, so that they can build their brand specifically because that's what they want to turn it into as a career, right? Where it's like, the type of reviews I like are more so, it's like, there are people that I know in the industry whose taste that I know, and it's like, I will listen to that person's opinion, and then I'll be like, okay, I know this person's opinion, so the things that they didn't like, I know I typically do like, or the things that they do like, I typically don't, so I can, or vice versa, and then be like, I can make a pretty good estimation as to where I'm going to fall on this game, and then I'll check it out if there's whatever. But a lot of today's writing is like, I'm trying to convince people to purchase or not purchase this product.
It's based on time too and pre-hype, right? If a game like Elden Ring comes out with all of this hype before it even launches, you have 2 days to be the first one with a review out that's hype, but everything there for the next 2 weeks will be, where can I find the negative? Because now that gets the clicks. And every game goes through this life cycle, and it just depends on where it starts as to like how long it takes to change. But there's a lot of games like that. Like this one's not it's a Capcom game, but it's not a blockbuster game. It's not one that was anticipated by everyone on the internet, right? So you have leeway there, but it is only a matter of time after some of the positive reviews come out that we find the cracks, because now that's how we get the clicks, right?
Well, and part of it too, I mean, like, in a case like Elden Ring, the reviewers had that game for months before it actually ships, right? So they have plenty of time to get their thoughts down. But even then, right, like, there's a lot of times where for games that aren't given ahead of time, there's a lot of pressure put on reviewers to get a review out, and so like, a game like Exoprimal
or Hi-Fi Rush.
Well, so yeah, Hi-Fi Rush.
I even knew about it until like a week before.
So for a shadow release, right, that's already out, people are already getting their hands on it. There's not a whole lot that someone can rush and go do. But for a game like Exoprimal, if there's a definitive release date, but they're not handing out early copies for review, and they're making people just review it upon launch, it's like, then exactly what Alex said, it's like, okay, I got to rush to get this done. I need to play it for 24 hours and then go ahead and just like stream of consciousness, just write what I feel about it. But for a game, people then, now that it's been out in the wild for a little while, people who've put way more than that amount of time into it are sitting there and they're like, dude, you missed like half this game, but your review score isn't changing, right? Like it's still just sitting there, and in some ways that's like a publisher problem. That's also like a media outlet problem. There's the games media right now is.
There's also like another times problem, because like this is a live service game, so you're really not getting the full breadth of what the game is going to give you until it's out.
Yeah.
So like you're playing with other reviewers and stuff like that beforehand, but until you get to the mass public, it's going to be a little different.
And you should almost revisit a game like this every quarter.
Yep.
Because if in a live service game, what the game is a year and a half from now will be completely different than what it is at launch. And that's not to say you should launch bad games and make them better. Looking at you, Cyberpunk, but like they are different as they get older, right?
There is something to be that. Now, to that, it's a whole other thing. We have went way past. I think Exoprimal is a lot of fun. I think I enjoy it more than I enjoyed my time with Overwatch or things like it.
I would agree. I like the
So-
concept better.
It's
I like
too
the
early
all the
for
horde
Intel, but yeah.
horde-based dinosaurs.
Because I was a
Yeah.
huge Overwatch fan, so it's
But like me,
it's gonna take a
yeah. And for me, it's like it already started out in a way that I think for me that it because it was like, oh, I'm in mech suits and I'm fighting dinosaurs.
That's a
it's
great
already
premise.
cooler than
Yeah.
Overwatch for me, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's no, and that's not just Overwatch clearly just wasn't for me, but. Yeah, and you know what? There's actually what I did play EDF 5. I got that on the Steam sale.
I
It's
saw
one of the
that, yeah.
games that I picked on
watched
Steam
it.
sale. Alex, you know what EDF is?
I feel like I do, but no, apparently
Earth
not. What is
Defense
it?
Force.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so so
never
it's-
played it, but
Yeah, so it's just this game. It is just the most campy. It's like Starship Troopers, but the video game.
Times
There's
1,000.
giant bugs and aliens and other things, and they come down. It's super campy. I'm like 13 missions in out of like 136. Now, in fairness, don't let that number like be daunting because some of those missions are like a minute and a half long. Others are like 5 minutes long. They go quick.
Yeah.
But it's meant to be played with 4 people, and you just run around and like I'm a class that can call down a mech, and then like hop in this giant mech and like go like full like Matrix style. Like it really the mech actually does remind me of the mechs that they have in the Matrix where they're
Nice.
shooting at the road. That's exactly what it's like. But yeah, super fun. I have nothing much more to report on it, but that's it.
which one are you on? I feel was this on Xbox 360?
Some of them were. This last one was on PS4 and Xbox One, but I'm playing on PC. It's EDF 5.
I feel like I've played one of these on 360.
You probably have. There was
Yeah.
probably one that was like a Games with Gold at some point.
Yeah.
My arcade kind of shit.
Or a friend had it. Like I know I didn't buy it, but maybe a friend had it or something. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you did actually play more games than
I
some
played
people.
2.
So right. Well, I mean, you didn't. You played 14, and you played, Tales, and you played.
Yeah, but I
you
played 2
4.
new games.
Sure,
that's it.
sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
I actually think that's one more than me. I only played one. I beat Hogwarts,
Nice.
and that's literally all I did, other than play Exoprimal with you.
And 14.
Well, 14, sure, but we're not talking about.
Well,
14.
but you were counting 14
Yeah, but no,
for me, so.
but I'm saying we're not, we're not talking about 14 according to you.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's all I played. I beat Hogwarts. It was good. It was good. It was. I tell you, I don't know where it'll fall in my top 10 by the end of the year. They nailed the atmosphere. They nailed the world. It is probably the most lived-in world I have played in a video game in a really long time. Like, the AI is really smart. I don't know if I ever ran into AI saying the same thing twice, right? So
Sure.
unlike some places, GTA issue, you'll run down the street and people will say the same lines of dialogue. I don't think I ever ran into that. It wasn't overly helpful. It let you figure things out yourself. You could run through the halls and you hear people talking about classes they're in and stuff going on that don't even have to do with yours. So it was an incredibly lived-in world. It was super well done. It had a big set piece. Like I said last time, they did a good job not tying it into the actual Harry Potter. The only thing that ties into the Harry Potter that everybody knows is there's a quick Deathly Hallows sequence. And that's fine because Deathly Hallows is very old
Yeah.
in Harry Potter, right? It's been around for a long time. But it was fun. But that was that was it. I'm not sure where it'll fall by the end of the year. It was good, and if you're a Harry Potter fan, it was really really good. It was just very long. I think when I finished it, and granted, I started to do I didn't set out to do a lot of side stuff, but I would find myself doing side stuff when I was running because I'd be like, oh, what's over here? I think probably 48 hours is what it took me to beat it. So it's
a good
a
chunk.
hefty.
Yeah.
It's a hefty story.
Yeah.
Mission wise, I think there's 37 parts to the mission or something. Or parts of the story. So it's long. That's all I played. 14. I haven't played Dave the Diver in a week, mostly because I did what I said to you guys, which was I'm playing the game that we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm just trying to knock a couple things off of the backlog list when I have the time.
Yeah.
But Dave the Diver is really, really good, by the way. And I know I kind of mentioned for the hour I put into it. I think the last time I did look, I was up to like 12 or 13 hours. And it's funny because I didn't talk about this. I didn't play it at all this week, right? But like I'd only played it the day we recorded last time. I played a couple days later, and then I took a break. So I haven't talked about it since. It's funny with Dave the Diver because I was coming right off of Dredge, and that is a fishing game, and this is also a fishing game in a different way. And I'm like, okay, this is fun. I don't really see what the hype, everybody's talking about. And it's kind of a survival. Like you only have so much air, so you go down, you have to fish before you run out of air, make your way back. You have like enemies you have to get away from, and so on. But then the next time I would come up, I'd be like, okay, well, let's see how far I can make it this way, or let's go all the way to the east, or let's go how far down I can go. And before you know it, it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, one more time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, okay, I guess I'm hooked. Like, I didn't even mean to be, but this game, like, got its hooks in me, and 3 days of that, I put in a ton of hours, and it is consistently goofy. And Christian, I know you commented, said, like, it keeps changing games. So right now, I have the fishing game, I have the restaurant sim, I have a farm game where now I can, like, harvest fish and, like, cultivate them. There's multiple mainline story beats going on right now. It's a lot in a small package.
I can't wait to
very
check it
fun.
out. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's very well done. It is one more example that I think we've talked about starting last year of like a perfectly polished indie game with zero issues. And I just want to look around and go, Why can't everyone else do this? This game is like $14.
God, and you want to talk about a game that has fucking issues? This is going to be our book club game that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Because
I have way more thoughts this time than I had last time.
Christian had to
too.
replay the first part.
I had to replay it, and let me tell you, there's. We'll get into it later, but there's
don't get too into it.
Yeah, there's way more differences in the Wii version than we thought before.
The quest list is significant. The quest list is significantly longer on the Wii version because I was looking today to say, hey, am I stopping at the right point? Because I'm at the last area. I thought we were gonna wait and save the last area, right? And then on the website it was like IGN, and it had Xbox PS3 list, and then below it the Wii list, and the Wii list has like 2 additional areas, and I'm like, what the?
5 more sections,
Even the stuff in the missions are different. We'll get to it later.
Yeah. That's your week?
That was me. Yeah, my week was easy. I don't think I've watched any shows. I went and saw Mission Impossible. For anybody that likes those Mission Impossible movies, guilty pleasure of mine. It was good.
Impossible movies. Okay.
It was super good.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's it. That's all.
Good to hear it still holds up to what it should be.
Rotten Tomatoes has that movie at like
I don't care what they do.
like
Who scores?
no, but is it like 98%? Like not critics, but like audience. But even critics have it at like 93 or something.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
But how many of those people are paid off by the Church of Scientology?
Yeah.
I am probably one of the only ones not paid off, as far as you know, and
I don't know.
You don't know because I did live 3 years in Tampa, which is 30 minutes south of Clearwater, and Scientology owns the entire city. So
yeah, exactly. So I can't trust you at all.
You can't. You absolutely cannot. Yeah. Anyway, Preston, how was your week?
It was good. Like I said, played some of that Exo Primal, a lot of fun. Played some more Street Fighter 6. Been playing a lot more of that World Tour. I spent like 5-6 hours on Tuesday. Like I got up super early, got my chorin done, got all my things I need to be doing, and then like, fuck it, it's a nice day out. Crank open these windows, fucking let's sit out and hang out and play some fucking Street Fighter, and that's a good game. That campaign's pretty good. The combat, as far as like the basic stuff you do, like in between the main missions, can leave something to be desired. But it's fun, it's cheeky, it's dumb, it's it's not as good as Yakuza combat, but it's fun enough. It's fine. Gets it done.
Yeah.
Got Cammy as my master now. That's good.
The only thing we didn't say, Preston, I guess the only thing we haven't said is also Exo Primal is Capcom.
Yeah.
So along with the other Capcom game you're talking about right now. So.
Oh yeah, Capcom's all about it. Been about it for the past couple of years. I've been really good. But yeah, it's fun. We don't go on that too much. We talked about that plenty. Haven't really played much more of Arcade Paradise. I'd probably fall off of that. I just don't have the time to do that and to commit to expanding my arcade in my laundry center. It's like if I get bored and I want to jump in to do something silly and basic and mundane and listen to a podcast, I'll jump into that. But I can also do it and jump into Exo Primal and listen to a podcast and get my level up and get some more skins for my mech suits. We started up on the Star Wars Wednesdays Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. So we finished up.
If you were in chat, I was not in chat, but I was watching. So I don't know, for Christian, if you were in chat, but I did have it up.
No, not the newest one.
Okay.
Nope, we're playing through that. Got through a couple levels. The gameplay feels a lot more. It looks a lot better. A lot better. I think this is like early 2000s. I think 2001 or something like that. I'm not sure.
Was it a PC only release like the others, or had we made it to console?
I played on PC.
on this one?
I kind of got console later, but I don't think it started off on
Okay.
console. It may have been. No, it was because there's the Xbox trailer is the one I found, as far as like when I was looking at
Okay.
old retro trailers. But yeah, it's a fun game. It is along those lines of it's not the greatest game in the world when it comes to shooters. The combat has been better on this one, but it's like it also wants me to do platforming again. I'm like, stop. You're floaty ass running, like you don't stop on a dime. I'm floating around trying to jump. Just stop with it. I get it. Verticality. It's fun, but fuck off.
You trying to platform in that last game in a couple of those sections
Dude.
was hilarious.
Maddening.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, I'm just at the point where I'm convinced that Star Wars games can't do platforming right after what we played.
They shouldn't do platforming. They really shouldn't. At all. But yeah, we're starting that up. If Wednesdays you guys are bored, anyone's bored, not you guys, anyone's bored out there, feel free to hang out. Twitch.tv/testingroompod. We are doing that on Wednesdays. It's been fun. Fun fact, the guy who voices Katarn is not the same person. I actually looked it up, like, I just want to kind of find out, like, okay, what's the guy who did the live action? What's he doing now? Apparently he quit shortly after that, his acting career, and started up his own wine business, so he owns a winery. So Kyle
He
Katarn owns a
probably
winery.
makes way more money now.
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way.
No, I'm sure he does. He's had a
Alright.
winery for a long time, too, I think, and so he's fine.
He could sell one bottle and probably make more money there, so.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure,
where does
I'm
this
sure
game
Star Wars
fall
didn't give him
in?
a lot of money. But no,
Where does this game fall in the canon?
So this is after the fall of the Death Star. So the third Death Star, Emperor has
first
been
one.
killed. Yeah,
But this is all legend stuff now, correct?
exactly. So it's not
Oh,
canon
sure,
until
sure,
Disney
sure,
says
sure.
canon. Until Disney puts Kyle Katarn in there somewhere, but they'll have to rewrite all of the game's story because he finds the Death Star plans in the first game.
It's
So-
the same thing as Revan and all this other stuff from KOTOR, even though Revan is the coolest fucking thing to happen to Star Wars since I
Oh,
can't even remember.
Revan will be in canon for sure.
Well, the nice part about that is that it's set so far in the past that you can just say, yeah, sure, it happened. And just have Revan
That's all you'd say.
not
Literally,
someone.
just look at the camera. Have somebody come out onto a podium and be like, KOTOR 1 and 2 happened. Done. And then you walk away,
Yeah.
and everybody would be excited again.
I
you
mean,
don't have
you
to
know-
talk about it anymore.
You
have
know
to
what's
show
going to
Revan.
happen? I'll make a prediction. I bet you in Ahsoka there will be an Easter egg somewhere
Ahsoka?
in the land of, like, in the doors,
Absolutely
right?
not.
So, well, they do time travel in Ahsoka.
They do.
I know.
And there
Absolutely
will be
no shot. Nope.
I'm going to call it. There will be some
You
sort
want
of
to do
Easter egg.
You want to do $10? I'll do $10 on it.
Yeah, let's do a $10 video game.
Yeah.
$10 video game of your choice. Let's
Yes.
do it. We'll buy it on Steam, gift it. That works.
Yes.
Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah. There
we start doing that,
always
that's gonna get dangerous.
always bet against Revan showing up in anything
Yeah.
canon. It's
And
never
it
gonna
can't be a slight, like, it kind of looks like his mask. Don't do that because all
No.
Mandalorian masks kind of look like that.
Yeah,
And
because
no, it has to be
Preston,
his
that was
mask.
the
Name has to be
one
said.
time Preston screamed at me is when episode 7
Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens come out. There was a thing of Kylo Ren's mask, and it looks just like Revan's.
Yeah.
See, he's already still
All
mad.
the
So
fucking
that was
Star
my
Wars
point.
masks are the same. They have the fucking thing and they have the fucking thing,
It-
okay?
It doesn't look like Revan, but it was close enough that
Yeah.
me and another friend of ours were like, "Dude, that's Revan. It's Revan.
Yeah,
It's
Revan.
100% Revan. This is Revan." He's like, "Shut the fuck up! It's not Revan." We're like, "It's Revan. It's." And he was getting he got so mad that day.
Before we knew that, it was Ben Skywalker.
It sure was. And turns out that it was the Skywalkers we met along the way. That was the
Skywalker all
point.
along. But yeah, other than that, I've also been playing Snap. I say that for last because I have a little tirade to go on it. So
Yeah, watch out, Christian. Buckle up.
Snap pissed me off real bad twice.
He
For the
threatened to
past,
quit
like,
earlier.
If this happens to me multiple more times, I will probably stop playing the fucking game. It's a real feels bad moment. So,
You know, if you do quit, there's a game that Alex and I are
Dude,
playing that you can play.
I was on my
We
phone
do,
playing.
need 4 people, so...
I was on my
Yeah.
phone. Oh, for Final Fantasy or Magic?
Yes.
Okay. I'm always going to go. I can
Fantasy.
probably go back to Final Fantasy sooner or later, just not right now. So I was like, there's Magic the Gathering app right there. I'm like, just fucking do this to me 2 more times and see me delete your app real fucking quick and go to Magic the Gathering. Like, I will fucking do it. Like, don't fucking play with me.
What
So,
happened?
They had a quality of life improvement, or a quality of life, a card acquisition improvement to help people get cards better, get faster, that kind of deal.
Sure.
So,
So does that mean
work.
right?
Does that mean to help you fill out your collection
Help you
faster?
get like the higher tier cards, the ones that cost a lot of credits,
Okay.
the ones that are really hard to get, the series 5 and 4 cards. So here's what happens. So you know we talked collection level before, right? Like I'm in like over 3,000. Like it's the one thing that progresses and doesn't stop. Every time you upgrade a card, you get more points. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Every 8 tiers, so every 8 points you put in there, you get a collection reserve, which is essentially your loot box, right? So that could give you its percentages. So based off of credits, so one of the 3 credits, you get a variant or you get a brand new card that you don't have. Obviously, the brand new cards that you don't have, super rare. The higher series they are, the rarer it is. Like you have like 0.5% to getting one of those cards.
So you can get
0.5.
super rare, you get another
like
card, or you
2.5
get
or something.
one of 3 types of credits.
Yes.
That you could then use to buy a card if you didn't have.
Possibly. If you get gold, you can buy credits with that. If you get the just normal blue credits, that's how you upgrade the cards. And then the tokens are how you can also buy specific cards as well.
So before you go any further, all I'm going to say is right now,
That's a
it
free-to-play
seems
game.
like no matter what, you're getting free shit. Every 8
Yeah,
levels.
no, you are. You're getting free shit.
Also,
Okay.
though,
All right.
the other thing is that there's 3 currencies too many in this game already.
I mean, it's a free-to-play game, man. Every single one does that. You have this one currency. This is
I know.
upgrade
Oh,
currency.
yeah. This is not a snap problem, but I'm just
Whatever.
saying.
Yeah.
Hey,
I know.
hey, you, sir, we play a game
I know, Final
that
Fantasy,
has
yeah.
way too many currencies in that game.
What game?
14.
Yeah, Final Fantasy is one of them.
It's Gil.
No, the tokens for the gear and the tokens
Oh,
for
that's
the
not
art.
currency, it's
Dude,
just-
it is
no.
100%
Do you buy things with them,
currency. Yes,
No.
you do.
You don't buy anything with them.
You
No.
absolutely buy stuff
No,
with it.
at
Sounds like
best
what currency
you
is.
barter with it.
Okay.
No, we
Alright,
play a
yeah.
game that's too many
All right,
currencies.
so-
well.
You get collection levels, right? We talked about every 8 points you get one of those reserves, right? Now they have what's called Spotlight Reserves. This is really cool. So every week, Marvel comes out with a new card, and you usually have to pay like 3,000 tokens. Tokens are super fucking hard to get. So
How much money is that?
if you were to put it into, because it's hard, 'cause you can't buy those collection tokens. You have to get them, so that's up to the RNG if you get them or not.
Oh, you can't buy it at all. You can't.
Now
just go
you can
and-
kind of buy them, but you can only get like a daily offer of like 2,000 if you want to spend a shit ton of money, which is not worth it.
Okay. All right.
Either way, you get the collection. So now every 10 of those like little collector reserves, there's a Spotlight cache.
So every 80 levels, because you get one of those every 8, and every
I
10
would
of those
say
8.
recently,
Every 80 levels.
since they released it, I probably get one of those about once a week. With
Okay.
as much as I play, I get about one a week.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 weeks. Got 2
That's
of them.
so much. Oh my god. Okay.
What you have is Spotlight caches. There's 4 things, so you got 25% chance of getting one of these 4 things right. You got the 3 new cards, which, for example, like this week is like Echo, the new card of the week, so you get a chance to get the new card of the week. And then you got 2 of the other high tier cards, which is I can't remember which ones they are this week, but they're Kang and Iron Lad. I don't have either of those either. So I'm like, cool.
Okay.
I can get 3 of these cards. If you already have one of those cards, you get a super rare variant you can possibly get, which is super dope art and everything like that.
So you actually almost want all those cards and get a duplicate.
Yeah. Oh no,
Okay.
I don't want to say there's no duplicates, but just wait. There's a 4th part because I said 25%, so there's a 4th section that's just mystery card. It gives
Okay.
you a mystery card,
And that'll definitely be a card that you have.
So the thing is that like all those other reserves, they don't ever give you cards you already have. They give you a card that you don't have. This one, I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know what it is, but it can give you a card you already have.
Yeah, it can.
So I get the first cache. I'm like, man, excited. Let's get one of these new fucking cards. Let's go. Open it up. It's like,
Bam! Right there.
what did I get? Let's say Hit Monkey. Well, I already have Hit Monkey. And it's like, okay, convert. I'm like, well, I don't want to convert. Like, I just want to roll again. Like, no, yeah, convert. I'm like, convert. Okay, let's convert because it's the only button I have. And then it's like, here is your baby variant of Electra, a card you don't play, a card that is not good at all, no one plays, and it's the baby variant, which is like, it looks like a Hobbs and Shaw, not Hobbs and Shaw, Jesus Christ. A Calvin and Hobbes, kind of like...
Calvin and Hobbes, yeah.
I like your first one better.
I hate how that changed in my head. Either way.
It's fucking Electra in a white tank top.
And a white beater.
I have the car behind
Jack.
Shaved head, but she has like
so
a sigh and the red
Yeah,
bandana.
Hey,
So with that Spotlight Cache, I got, let's just call it a shitty variant. It's fine variant, it's cute and all, but a card I don't play, I'm like, that was like, oof, that hurt. That didn't feel good. I'm like, okay, well, the next time I get one, I couldn't reselect from those three, because you go those forward, that one goes away, right? So I'm like, cool. So if I get another one, I can get one of those three. I couldn't get to that next reserve until the week refreshed, and it's all new cards. So second week rolls around. Last night, I'm like, I can play a couple more matches. I will have just enough to get this reserve. Let's fucking do this. Let's get it over with. It'll be great.
But everything's reset, right? So the one you lost, you couldn't get back. So now all four are back.
So now all four are back.
Sure.
So Preston opens
Okay.
it up,
Okay.
gets that mystery variant again.
yeah, he does.
He gets another card that he already fucking owns.
And this time when it opens up, it was like, bam, two of them, fuck you.
And it's like, hey, you got another card that you already fucking own. I'm like, God damn it, motherfucker. And I'm pissed because honestly, like variants are cool and all, but there's nothing. A variant is never on the same level as getting a new card. Period. I got a pretty decent variant for.
But you
for this
got.
year.
I mean, but you got the. I guess so. You only got variants of the card you have. I get it. Okay.
And you can get variants in those gold ones. The thing is, Spotlight Caches are your opportunity to get a new, like, nice, expensive card.
Yep.
And both times, I've had a 3 out of 4 shot of fucking getting one of those cards. And I haven't. It's a feels bad man kind of situation. If it happens a couple more times, Preston's not gonna fucking care about opening those goddamn Spotlight Caches anymore.
I think that's. Look, I would
No,
don't
also.
you look
I don't know why
angry.
he's I don't know why he's
you
I
look
would.
defending
I
it
would.
because he's so
I would be
wrong.
angry. No, I would be angry. But you are getting something new.
Sure,
And-
yes, and that's what
Come
that's what they
on.
will put.
You just.
That's what they'll tell me.
you
They'll be
just-
like, but you
Yeah,
did
and
get
that's what
something
their
new.
lawyers will
did
say
get
in
something new.
court. That's that is the response Alex is giving right now. Is the
So-
same ones that their fucking lawyers will give in
Yeah.
court.
But-
No,
Exactly.
you are not getting.
No.
You are not getting anything new. You are basically getting, especially they should that if they want to do the regular caches and they want to hand out variants in
Sure.
those,
Sure.
fine. The one that comes every 10 levels to you still get a chance for the game to be like, fuck you, is so garbage.
So
they should fix
the
that.
fact that the other ones never give you the same card. I'm at level over 3,000. If it would have done it, it would have done it by now, right? So I still have never gotten the same card. I've never seen this convert fucking button they have. It's just for these Spotlight Caches. And I guarantee it's a bug, or obviously it's not a bug because they put the convert button there. Otherwise, if it was a
Yep.
bug, you wouldn't have that and you'd be super
Nope,
fucked.
that is a
So
feature.
they're aware. So like, why is it not doing the same thing everything else is doing? There's other spots where you go and you get like a mystery variant or mystery card, and I'm fine with that. But at least you know how to give me a card I don't have. Just make it a random card. I don't care if it's a series of 3 I don't have. Fucking give it to me. Like
Well, just
it
play
doesn't
more.
matter. Just give me a new
Question.
card, and then
Just-
give me a
just play-
variant
just-
after that.
Just play
Question.
more. I want you to
Have
play
you?
more.
Well, so my question was going to be this: are you playing to get to that cache because you want those cards, or are you playing and it just so happens you're playing enough to get to the cache and have a chance?
His
at the
answer is
cards?
that he wants those cards.
I want those cards, so I already get to those caches, but
So-
I'm getting
so
those
you're-
caches
so you're
faster
feeding-
because
so
I can
you're
get to that
feeding in-
Spotlight cache.
So you're feeding into the system.
But I'm not putting money to get that upgrade. I won't do it.
Right.
I
Yeah,
saw
but
it last
you're
night when I got
feeding
that
into
shitty
it.
variant last night. I'm like, how much would it cost to get them to cash? Like to get the full level up, how much would it be? It's like it's like
Alex right now,
I-
can I
it's
just
like
say,
$60. It's like $60. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
I
I'm not
bet
doing
they
$60.
know this.
I'm not doing $60. We're not doing this. Nope. Walk away. Walk away.
This is so unhinged that Alex is doing this right now. He is literally This is the equivalent of looking at a cocaine addict who's like, cocaine is bad, and then Alex goes, interesting, because I seem to remember you purchasing cocaine last night. So if it was really so bad, would you really be spending your money on it? Like, dude, come on.
No, it's not that bad. It's just I got hit. It's a bummer.
No, that's bad.
It's a bummer.
Yes,
it's a
that is
bummer.
bad.
It was
That
a
is
big
bad.
bummer.
It's
New
a
Spotlight
bummer
caches.
now.
I'm so excited about these caches too. I'm like, this is a great idea. The fucking UI looks great. It makes me want to get it. It's fucking phenomenal. Like, I'm like,
Don't
I'm
listen
down.
to him, Preston.
And here's
Yeah,
a
you're
fucking
right.
baby Electra.
What happens?
Suck my dick.
What
Yes.
happens if the next two you get are two of those really fancy, special, unique cards? Will you
I'll be happy.
forget about
I'll
this
shut the fuck up.
moment?
Yeah. If I got one
He's
last
feeding
night,
into
I'd have
the
been like,
system.
yeah, it's like the first one, but I got one
He's
last
feeding
night,
into
so
the
Yes, just because he's addicted to Snap does not mean that is a problem, or that the game should still not fix that.
no, they need to fix. All they need to do is just make sure to give me a new card. If I get that new
Yes.
card and it still gets me, it can give me a mystery variant. That's fine. Just like the other ones, if you already have that card, it gives you a variant for the card, right? Cool. I'm okay with that. But I
But the
don't
one
want
every 10
some
levels
basic
absolutely
baby.
should be a new
I want
card,
some
yes.
baby. I want chibi. I want pixel in it. Because they even made it to where you will not get pixel variants in these mystery card unbundles. So they know how to stop it.
But you will get baby variants.
We'll get baby. But pixels are a known super some of those are fucking rough. They suck.
So what I think is funny is this is very clearly it's free to play garbage.
It's a me
that's
problem.
all over these things. Well, yes, but it's also a design problem, right? Like, but
No, it is.
it's because of the way free to play games are, and so it's like they know that if they let people get new cards every single time they got one of these caches, right? The problem is that now people's collections are going to start to get filled out real fast. Well, now if I have every card, then
It's not that easy, man. It really
I'm not
isn't.
saying it's that easy, but if there is somebody who is willing to put the time in, somebody can get to the end of there and get what they need.
So
and
you need money. You need
No,
to put-
no,
you
because
need
you're
to- you need
only
to pump money
getting
in.
You're only getting 4 cards, right? So it's not like you're getting every card. You're only getting 3 cards.
But
And there's a new
eventually
card
with
every
this
week.
system, I'm saying that if in a perfect world all 4 things were a way to get 4 new cards, right? As the system goes on, it's coming and it's happening because you said they're doing 1 new card a week,
One
right?
new card a week, and then each one of those 4 cards, or like to 3, like those are planned. So it's not like it's going to be an automatic new card. It's going to be Kang this week. It's going to be Echo, Kang, and Iron Lad and a variant
okay.
this week. So
Yeah,
next
then
week is like
then-
these
so
3
they're
cards.
just being shitty. They're just being shitty.
Yeah,
That's-
somebody
I mean,
did the math,
they're trying to
Christian, and said, how many times will Preston and people like Preston continue to get these shitty variants before they pay up that
Well, it's not math, right?
to
It's
get
psychology,
to get another
because
no yeah dude, how
that's
much
an actual
how much
thing,
will they suffer
is
to get
how-
to pay the $60
How
to get another
how
patch?
often will the chimp shock itself to get the
Yeah.
fruit that it wants?
A lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fruit's good.
How much will you gamble before you just start paying?
Fruit's real good.
Yep. How much will you gamble before? Like, how bad does it have to get before you stop? Telling the dealer to hit. Like,
Yep.
turns out you can lose your whole life, and it'll So it's just scummy.
It felt bad. So other than that,
It should, 'cause
other
it
than
is.
that, I still enjoy playing the game. I have now changed my deck up. Sarah deck has not been doing well for me. A lot of these players are coming in there with these big power decks, and I can't get the power out with the Sarah deck. So I did finally get Lockjaw, and now I'm playing a Lockjaw deck, which is big bucks, known whammies, and it's fucking here all day. So it's like
How long do you have in this season?
I got 2 weeks left, I think.
What level are you?
Well, it depends on the day, but right now I'm level 89. I was
Oh, so
93
you're gonna get to
earlier.
you're gonna get to 100, no problem.
Dude, I was 93 earlier.
yeah,
I went all the way down.
yeah, but that's only like 5 matches.
Sooner
You're
or later,
fine. You
hopefully
can
I'll
do
get it.
You-
But
You gotta get you gotta
Making some
roll
bad
those big
bets.
eight snappers,
I've,
right?
I've,
Eight
been,
snappers.
I've been not walking away when I should walk
It's
away.
the cubes, 8 cubers.
8 cubers. That's what it is. 8 cubers.
I have not been knowing when to hold them and when to fold them recently. I
Yeah.
would say.
He's got a wholesome cube.
I'm like, I got this. Got fucking Giganto I'm going to put over there on the left side with 14 power, and I'm just going to hope that fucking Lockjaw tosses me an Infinite on the side with the big old fat 20. And we'll see what
An
happens.
Infinite?
Infinite.
What is
yeah.
that?
He's
Infinite
character.
with a 20.
I don't know who he is in Marvel Universe. All I know is that he's a
Those
very
are
powerful
words,
card. He's
for
probably
sure.
the most powerful card as far as like base level.
I'm not even sure Infinite's a word. I think they're just letters thrown together.
Infinity
Yeah,
and
if we're just
Astronaut,
calling,
yeah.
As if we're just calling everything words, then sure.
You got that many superheroes? Yeah, you just start slash.
But I mean,
half
it's
the
pure
words together.
anarchy, but.
We got a name generator somewhere.
Oh,
I'm sure. It's like creating a new Pokemon where they just like
honestly, it's
you know,
probably
they
just
have,
chat
they have like
GPT
wings and they have like fire and they have like little needles and other stuff. And they just start
Wing fire
throwing
needle.
darts.
That's
So
what
they're
his
like,
name
yeah,
is.
there you go, nailed it. Yeah.
But other than that, no other new games. I forgot to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this about Jedi Outcast. I did mention about the actor. I meant to say after that, but we got derailed. The new actor, the voice actor for Katarn, is the same voice actor as Johnny Bravo.
Oh,
You cannot
Big
tell,
fan of that.
but yeah.
Big
Can't
He's not doing the
tell.
hoo-ha like during the entire. It'd be cool. It'd be great if he did.
I was gonna say that's
which
unfortunate.
shows his incredible dramatic range.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
got
clearly,
to go
yeah. I mean, give the Emmy right now. What do we?
Yeah. But other than that,
You can never tell it's Johnny Bravo.
I almost played this today before we got on the podcast, but I didn't think I had enough time. But Alex sent me a little trailer this morning that made a Star
yeah.
Fox fan happy. And there's this game called Whisker Squadron. It's like Star Fox but with cat people.
Girl cats.
But it's like a roguelike, and it looks.
I said that
was
to
this
you.
was this a Steam demo that you were talking about last year? Okay.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, like, what was the other one that Christian was talking about? Well, you didn't say anything in the text chat, so I figured it wasn't that game.
It was
Well,
their
super busy
launch
today,
trailer.
but-
It was their launch trailer. I just said Preston's Game of the Year right
So
here.
there's a
I-
demo
dude, I
out
s-
right now that I already have downloaded, and there's apparently two versions of it. There's like a survive version, and there's like a normal story version, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm ready for that end of next month. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I sent you the Steam Next Fest thing for it when it.
Look at us. We're always just looking out for you, Preston. We saw
I don't-
Star Fox successor and
Anthropomorphic animals.
thank you.
that's
I wanted to be right on the terminology because I knew if we effed it up again, he'd get real sassy
so,
like he did the
yeah.
last time. So, thank you for that.
Should know. But yeah, that's all. That's my week. Nothing too special outside of that. Watching shows.
All right.
It's fine.
Well,
So
then, yes.
before we get in, so I want to catch up before we start before Preston, before you start saying what happened during this little bit. I want to talk about my journey,
right.
getting back to where we ended last week.
So part two. We're not going to part two. You're talking about your part one recap.
One,
No, his
replay.
redo
Yeah,
of
exactly,
Forza
because
2.
I'm
Okay.
playing through the 360 version now.
With your
that
360.
Yeah. Well, I'm just playing on my Xbox because it has backwards compatibility.
okay.
So that's yeah.
That's true. That's true.
No confusion this week. We're actually
Yeah.
playing.
I don't have my weird the weird like zombie Wii that I have. Don't worry about that.
I was
That's-
so confused last.
I
when
know
were
you
talking
were.
about that. I just did not understand.
And what's funny is you go
like,
back and listen to it. I still, if Preston agrees, I was so clear. I could not have been clearer. But yeah, so I was surprised that no one stopped me when. So like, there's scenes that I talked about last week that just aren't in your game. For instance, that whole beginning mission like is completely different. The hallways
No,
are
but-
different. The jumping's different. The way that I
Remember
like,
what I said though? I went the first half of that playthrough with no cutscenes.
Yeah, my
Right.
cutscenes weren't.
I had to
behind
watch.
you.
I had to watch
Yeah,
them on
not-
YouTube.
Not the
so-
cutscenes. I'm talking about gameplay.
Okay.
Like the movement, like going from place to place is different. The enemies that I were fighting, different. That scene, Vader does not chase you at all in that intro part. Like you fight with him in the beginning. That's it. The Wii version,
And then you jump out the window, right? Like you fight
the
with him and
Wii
you jump out the
version,
window.
he chases you. He shows up multiple times to stop you, and not only that, but like the scene that I was talking about, where I was like in tears laughing, where I was saying that because I couldn't do the quick time events, that whole section that I talked about does not happen. And I was like so surprised that you guys never stopped me. So when I was saying like the shields come out of the ground and then he picks them up and I'm supposed to try to throw them back and I can't and he just bonks me on the head with them, That never happens in this game.
I thought you were just playing
Nothing.
with shield enemies. That's what I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about.
like the
No, no.
guys that come in with the shield and you pull it off of them and hit them with it is what we thought.
No. A room with shields shoots out of the ground, and Vader picks them up and goes to throw them at you, and you're like, no, and you're supposed to throw them back, but because I can't do it, then it's like, bonk, and he just hits them, and it's really fucking funny. But so I'm playing.
Does not happen at all.
So imagine my disappointment when I find this out, because I was playing. My thought process was, okay, well, I'm gonna go through again and not. I'm gonna do the QuickTime events wrong so that I can get. No, I'm gonna do them wrong so that I can catch the clips and then send them, right? So that we can talk about. No, it doesn't happen. And I also found out through playing this, because I was like, man, especially because I knew where we end up, right? Or when I got to where we stopped this week, I realized that was very clearly the end of the game. So there's no snow level, and then I remembered, no, the Darth Vader saying "I lied" and the whole meme is from the first game. It's not in this game at all.
Yeah.
So I was double upset in that case, but yeah. So I'm sitting there going through this whole section, and I'm like, oh my god, this is way worse.
So are you going to go back and play it on the Switch version to finish it off?
I am not. But
Okay.
as somebody who I know, Preston, the love you have for Star Wars, you owe it to yourself to go play the Wii version
I've
of this
played the
game.
Wii version.
Like, did you play through the whole way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well then,
So,
I wanted to do this with lightsabers, yes.
because it's a much better
Oh
game.
yeah, it's a better game. There's more levels, and we'll talk about it. I know the whole difference
Yeah.
as far as the first level and this next section.
But do we know why? Why did the Wii get so?
It's a whole different company.
It's a different company. They couldn't implement everything.
Sure.
So like, there's all those three like graphical and like environmental stuff, like all those like software that's not in here. So they had room and time to be able to add more to it.
So they
because
said,
that
"Hey,
stuff couldn't
sorry,
run on the
sorry,
Wii.
fam, your game's gonna look like shit, but you're gonna have a lot of extra stuff."
And
to
remember,
do."
this version of the game came out later than the other two.
I think it was like a little bit later. I don't think it was like super duper later.
No, but it was a little bit. So, but that was it's because they were developed separately.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like they're not.
Two different companies.
So
one in-house Lucas,
but
the other
but-
one Red Flag.
Yes.
Yeah, but most writers are like, if you're talking about something like at the time, like canonically important, if you will.
The beats
it's
are
somebody
there.
that has a much control. Like, why they wouldn't be like, they have to be the same experience?
no,
is
they don't,
Mind blowing.
because this was before Disney or somebody. This was before this was before cinematic universes were a
George didn't give a
thing.
shit about the Nintendo. He's like, get on to the prettier one that my ILM's doing work on.
Dude, yeah, LucasArts was getting ready to be bankrupt. They were just like, I don't know, dude. Who cares? Put the game on the Wii and get out of my face. Like, just give me some money, please. Like
port
that's
guys.
not.
Like, we like Star Wars.
Dude,
We'll make it
they
better.
don't care about
Fuck
it.
you.
It was also, like I said, it was way before the cinematic universe fucking thing that we're all on now.
no,
too.
I get that, but Star Wars. I mean, since the
Continuity-
70s, Star Wars has been one of those things that have been beloved. So you'd think it would be one of those weird properties
Sure.
where people would be like, keep the same experience.
But
if
since
it's
when
all
has
the same game?
even in the 70s? Since when has continuity mattered at all?
It's not continuity. It's we have fans across the gamut, so if they're playing on everything, we would want them to have the same experience. Like, it's
Same
just one of
title
those weird.
name.
It's one of those properties that kind of like transcends just like treat it however you want, right?
I think that is a mentality that you have held on to that's for today that has no basis in reality for back then. Think about all of the movie tie-in games that came out for big franchises that, like, absolutely massive. Lord of the Rings is a great example. All of those video games, none of that shit mattered. It was like,
But did
Put the
Lord of the Rings,
name
do you
on the
recall,
box.
But do you recall Lord of the Rings having a situation where they came out for PC and came out for Xbox? They had two completely different
Now,
sets of
in-
5 levels.
okay.
And that's what I mean. Like that's
so in fairness,
not
there
common.
is-
You're acting like this is commonplace in the
No,
Wild West of the 90s and 2000s.
No, you're mixing it up. having a game be developed simultaneously by two different companies and then shipping out on different platforms is not normal. Having companies not give a shit about what experiences are like depending on the game versus the property is totally normal. That is par for the course. That's why the Wii had so much shovelware you'd see a fucking...
That I completely understand. I just think it's interesting and odd. Like, it's not common that you see the same title coming out for different consoles and then going like, oh, the experience is different, who gives a shit?
But that's
it's just not common.
But the only reason that happened is because
the Wii...
the games were made by two separate developers, which that never happens.
Right.
So that part's easily explainable. Is because two people made a game in a vacuum and were given general guidelines to go along as far as this is what your story needs to do, and you go okie dokie, and then one developer made a very good game and another developer made a very bad game.
Wait. So based on your experience, which one's which?
The Wii one is a much better game, and I'm talking like we haven't finished it, and I haven't finished it, but if it continues to do the things that have made me so mad in this, I am saying it is like I will probably end my experience at like a 3.54. And the Wii is probably like a 7.58.
That's actually kind of what the score they got, almost.
I don't know why you wouldn't just go back and finish it on the Wii.
Because I wouldn't be able to have a conversation with you guys about what's happening. When I tell you that it's different, it is like you guys. There's levels that we would complain about that are coming up that I think are like nothing happens or there's weird. It's like weird.
Oh, there's levels. There's levels on the Wii that don't even exist.
Yeah,
but that's my point. Is that I would be arguing with you guys, being like, no, man, that section was great, and you'd be like, well, it doesn't matter because you guys. That's why we all voted last week that it made sense that I went and played the same version you guys are playing. Is because it wouldn't make any sense for me to become a defender for the Wii version. That's a completely different game. It'd be silly. But that's all I wanted. So I caught up. I played. I caught up to where we were, and then I played this week's bit, and the entire time my mouth was just open. I was shocked at how much worse.
Everything about this game, I mean, because even what you're saying in the first one, like having the Darth Vader sequence and stuff, that would have broken up the monotony of our experience, which is just same hallway, same enemy.
And the combat is so much better. Like I can't even describe to you how much better the combat is in the Wii version. Like, it feels better to play. Enemies actually like react to the things that are happening to them. Like things, like there's so in that first section there's like the bigger enemies. I think it's hilarious that you cannot block these bigger enemies' attacks. Your only option is to get out of the way.
That's not hilarious. It is so in this playthrough this week, it was driving me.
Oh,
nuts.
Brother, let me tell you.
I'm holding on to the Steam Deck just like squeezing.
Dude, I'm frustrated. I was looking at the screen and Alexa heard me. She was cooking dinner and I literally was looking at this and I was like, I fucking hate this. Like I was like, oh my God.
It doesn't just hit you. Like it would be different if it hit me and took my health and I was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. It like stuns you every time.
So I have found the way that I'll do it is I'll just use the lightsaber throw, and then just stun lock them. And I'm like, how do you like it? How do you like it?
Which enemy are you talking about? Are you talking about the one that shoots like
any big enemy,
the freezing like stuff?
Anything bigger than your size.
Yes, any enemy that's bigger than your size, you cannot block their attacks.
Nope.
Like if you hold the block button, they will just knock you over.
Yeah, they'll knock the shit out of you.
Yeah, you can't.
Or if you're just going ham and you're 1 split second late on like the dodge or something, it's just like you're on the ground.
Yeah.
Get back up. Just wait.
God, and the way Starkiller, he just takes his fucking sweet time getting off the ground. It's like, oh Jesus, let's.
I have a lot of thoughts on this story as we're going tonight, but I have a lot of thoughts on the combat.
So that's my point. That's what I wanted to. The last thing I want to end on is right where we get is just that whole section that it is mind blowing because of how different it is there in the middle section, like in the actual story parts of the game. Like that whole first level is ass compared to the Wii, because Vader is chasing you in the Wii version, and it makes sense because why wouldn't he be chasing you? Whereas in this one, you basically shock him, you jump out, and then Vader's just like, well, I've done all I can do. And then
he catches you when you hop in your ship, and he essentially just goes,
no.
Because
you've never seen him grab something. Away. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the Wii version, like, there's like, you try to get into an elevator, and he like crushes the elevator before you can get into it. You have to run, do all these different things. It makes it is such a it's like hard for me to describe. Alex, you have a Wii. You should one day. You should check out the Wii version of the game.
But the Wii shop doesn't exist anymore.
I'll see if it's available.
Yes, it does. He doesn't need a Wii shop. He can just go buy the physical version of the Wii game and put it in his Wii that he has at home. Yes.
Those are very easy to get. I do know a guy.
Yeah. So, either way, do it. I'm telling you, it just play through that first section for me before this next week, just so that you can know the level of like just how ridiculous the difference is. Now, same thing is in that, God, when you guys were complaining about that boss fight last week, I was like, or the Gorlog or whatever the fuck its name is, it is so like it is mind blowing to me that this game shipped. Like, and I know now, given the context of the great journalistic research that you did last week, Preston, sure. I know why. I actually know the why, right?
Yeah.
But God, I wish I could be in the room with the person who said, ship it, it doesn't matter, like, it's playable from end to end, and I wish I could just slap them. Like, it is... You guys were absolutely right. It was so infuriating.
They killed the franchise. Like they single-handedly like just destroyed the franchise. They were good. They had plans for a third, and even though like LucasArts was going under, like if that game did well, we would have gotten that third one easily.
And you know what's crazy? Just with that Gorlog fight, like you're just sitting there, and he just like so it wants you to shock his little wrist watch thing, so that then he's like, oh, and then you have to go like ba 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 and push it back to get it up on his like to lock him in place. He doesn't want to do the move. Like he doesn't want to like you can't. I literally just sat there and just shocked him, and I was just like, man, and I shocked him in his face until I did enough damage for him to finally do the move, because I figured it out finally. What it is he won't do those moves unless a damage threshold is reached beforehand. And so there is a world, a universe, where if you don't figure out ways to do the little bits of chip damage that you need to do to get him to the point where he slams his fist down and does this, it will last forever.
Yeah.
And it's not helped by the fact...
That's what we were talking about. We just walked to the edge of the map at one point, just started shocking because we didn't know what else to do.
And it's not helped by the fact that you have the most annoying NPC on the planet screaming at you, going, "You gotta hit his wrists," and you're like,
no.
There's no way to do it. And if there was a way to do it, I would have done it already.
You go out here,
blind piece
Jedi.
of shit. Like it's so frustrating. And then you're sitting there. And this entire time, I'm just like, I wish I was playing the Wii version. A sentence I never thought that I would ever utter, and I'm sitting there going, I wish I was playing the Wii version. It is, ugh. But anyway, so that's me catching up. Take us into this week, Preston. What we land
sections.
on Dagobah.
I thought it would be funny to give you guys 2 sections and not tell you how long the first section is, because guess what? Dagobah, we arrived at Dagobah because Coda mentions it by chance in passing at the very end of the last level.
Can I just say, also, with that when he mentions it, God, dude,
or Dagobah, and I'm like, oh no, don't worry about that. I'm like, neither of you know what fucking Dagobah is or who's there. Maybe Coda, but shut the fuck up.
But even
there?
Dude, the writing in this
so bad
is if this had came out this year, I would have told you that I am 100% convinced this game was written by ChatGPT. That's how bad this writing is. It's crazy. He literally they get down and it's like two brick walls talking to each other and completely refusing to even have a conversation about I need to go find Juno. An already flawed premise because you're not Starkiller.
No.
Like you're a clone that has his memories and I know and you know it. You're very aware. You're so aware. And you're like, but it doesn't matter because I love her. You don't fucking know her. You're 12 days old. Shut up. Like and instead of Coda just saying that, instead of Coda being like, look man, I get it. And I totally hear what you're saying, but maybe we need to address this because you don't know her. And it is, as much as you think you do, she doesn't know you. Fuck all.
New boo, buddy. Come on.
Like, she could walk... Like, if you walk out... Yeah, well, but if she walks up and you're like, Juno, it's me. She's like, I don't know you.
Dead, man.
If anything, it's really weird because you're just wearing my boyfriend's face. That's awkward for me, and I'm not a fan of this. But he's like, I have to go do it. To which Coda just responds indignant, like he's so mad, and he's like, no, dude, you have to come help the rebellion. And he's like, I can't. No, and there's no extra anything there, right?
No,
and then he just goes,
my stuff.
Well, fine, drop me off then, I guess, if you're just going to go to Dagobah or somewhere else. And he's like, and Starkiller, Preston, your exact tone is, he goes,
I know the fuck Dagobah
but
is.
Starkiller looks and goes, what? Like is shocked, like, has no idea. What are you talking about?
Gotta go there then.
And he goes, just drop me off. Shut up, nothing. And so, of course, he drops him off and then goes, I guess. Now, the hilarious part is that the player, we see none of this. You don't even know that you dropped him off anywhere. And the only way you figure it out is what happens later. But so he sits there, and so it can only be assumed that Starkiller literally is in his ship after he drops him off and goes, I guess I'll punch in the coordinates for Dagobah, bup, and then just goes, maybe I'll find something there, and then fucking pieces out and lands there. And the hilarious part is when you land, I think it's so funny that the game's like, look, it's Yoda's house.
Yeah. Oh,
and you're place. Like...
Entire planet, you happen to land right next to Yoda's house. Entire fucking planet, Dagobah in the Star Wars universe, it's Yoda's hut, the little weird forest cave area, and a swamp. Nothing else on Dagobah.
And then ether.
It's nothing but one
It's
swamp.
just fucking burnt land and just like...
you know what it is? It's Asgard from the Marvel movies. It's just one plane.
Yes.
It's not a
that is exactly
it's just a hanging thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, continue, Preston.
So, you go to Dagobah, and this was supposed to be the one kind of like insightful, like nice like piece of the story to where you're like, mind's kind of going crazy. You go into the little section where Yoda's like sitting next to a fucking the cave that you see Luke Skywalker go into earlier, in the movies. Because we all know what the cave is. It's supposed to like kind of the force is really strong in there. It's supposed to kind of make you see visions.
It's like the black butthole in the later trilogy.
Yeah, for sure. And then I never even thought about that. Jesus Christ, Alex.
And you're welcome.
Now I'm not going to not think about that. But Yoda's just chilling out there in front of the cave. Never met Starkiller, as far as I'm aware. I'm trying to think of like in Force Unleashed 1. Did he like meet Starkiller at all?
Was he?
No.
I'm trying to think.
Maybe, I don't know.
He would probably know of him.
Was he a Force ghost?
I think Yoda at least can look at him and go,
Wait.
okay, this dude's got the Force in him.
If the Death Star was gone, he would be a Force ghost, wouldn't he?
He should be.
Yeah, he should be.
Based on time.
Why is he not blue?
It's a great question. I don't know.
I don't want to know. I don't care anymore. All right, so you're on Dagobah for like 5 fucking minutes. You get the whole like introspect, like, oh, he's losing his mind. You see the whole like the clone ghost kind of reaching out, like, oh, help me. And then he walks out because apparently something happened to him in his mind. There's a little more to that. I think he sees Juno. And then he has that kind of confrontation of like, she's all fucking weirded out by it, like she should be.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know. And then he's like, no. And then he goes to like hold her, and then they walk through each other.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and he's like, I'm a completely changed man now. And you're like, nothing
totally
happened.
Went to a cave.
Now,
Blew
can
my
I
mind.
say, so that cutscene ends, and then boom, you are in a
Gone.
ship with Kato next
Yep.
to you,
Wait,
and
so before you even get there, can I say the entire Dagobah piece? Can we talk about how insulting it was that they
So-
only allowed you to run forward 15 feet,
Hang on.
jump, and get one?
Play the Wii version
crystal?
because there's a whole game of Dagobah in the Wii version.
there's a power crystal there. There's a platforming section. You're jumping between things. There's a puzzle. You have to mind trick a bunch of things and all this other stuff. It is,
It's a whole
I-
development.
it is unbelievable. Absolutely
Yeah. You
unbelievable.
know what they wanted to do? They wanted Yoda in there. Like, we need Yoda in this game. Let's have him stop by Dagobah real quick. He can even do something with his mental health. Yeah, that'd be great. Just put it in there for 5 minutes. We'll have ILM work up on some cutscenes. It'll be great.
Ugh.
So we get that, and then we go straight back into the ship, like Christian has said. Our boy is in there, and we are now going to what's called the Salvation, which is a Republic vessel. As we are getting to this, there is some shit going down, and we get into the Salvation, and we are kind of, I guess, like what you would say, like trying to rescue the ship or trying to like get the Imperials
So-
out of there.
Really quick, because I
absorbed.
the only thing that I don't want to move past is just to so there's a moment right when what you're talking about, Preston, where so we get off Dagobah, he gets on the and then you cut immediately to Starkiller and Kato in a ship. And
I assumed he was trying to ship the entire time you're in Dagobah.
I did too, and I think they knew that people would think that, and so they have to add a line where as Starkiller says, "I'm going to the Salvation," we're going to the Salvation, blah blah blah. Kato goes, "Oh, I mean, thank God you went and picked me up on insert stupid planet name here, because now we can actually get this thing going." And then they have a like a little ship comes up and goes, "Hey, what's your distinction?" And he's like, "Kato, number blah 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 blah." He's like, "Good to have you back, General." And you come in, but if they did not say that, if they didn't have him say like, "Oh, thank God you picked me up," blah blah blah, I would have absolutely assumed that he was just sitting in the passenger seat being like,
Dagobah was a feature.
"Any fucking day now."
Meditating
Like
on the back of the
that's
ship or something. Yeah, why not?
yes, dude. That's absolutely what
That's
I would
what
have thought.
honestly,
And-
that's what I thought. I totally glossed over the whole line of him saying those 2 lines
yeah.
of the story. I skipped dialogue apparently. I pulled an Alex. So.
Oh,
This
I know
this
for a-
game has been tough because like in this playthrough I've gotten I think all the cutscenes,
Yeah.
but in the first one I didn't. So I've had to try and figure out like did I get everything I was supposed to, or do I have to go back and watch it?
Yeah.
It's been tough.
So you're on Salvation and you're going through. You're kind of you're getting bombarded. You're in a giant space battle over Camino. So you're doing the battles like you have like the ships. The Imperials are docking with your ship. They're unloading people into there, and you're going through the waves as you did in the last level, to where you're just hallway with some enemies. And to be fair, these hallways don't even have enemies. Like there are spots to where like you can break the window and the vacuum happens, which is really cool. But guess what? There's no enemies to get sucked through there. That's not fun. That's not fun. I thought
That's
there was.
true.
I'm like
That's true, but-
I thought that I remembered there being bad guys here.
It was a nice touch though when you broke.
Was.
I did it the first time. I started breaking all of them.
Yeah.
You broke them, and the vacuum happened, and after about 2 seconds, the force field came down and shut it, which was a very nice touch.
And I was so waiting to be like, I cannot wait to have enemies in front of this. And guess what? Never fucking
Never happened. Never happened.
No.
This level did though. Somebody sat back and goes, "You know what this level needs? It needs us to introduce the world's most annoying set of enemies."
Now,
and they're like,
here's the
"Which
thing.
ones?" And they go, "All of them. These are going to disappear. These are going to block all your force powers and attack straight on. These are going to hoard you, and you're supposed to send out a shockwave to
So-
kill them, but it's going to happen so quick, they're going to jump on you." All
These
of
guys
them.
are like the other ones you can stun with their own fucking bombs, but now they're just fire, so they don't stop moving and they continue coming after you the whole time and are harder to kill.
So
You
here's
can't hit 'em.
I want to talk about something with these. So I ran into a thing. I died multiple times here, but because the game broke, and not because of. So here's
Not because of my skills, I'm too good.
right, exactly. So one, I want to say the Wii version had a separate power called Force Vision that turns on that you just get to see
Do you have a
these
whole
enemies.
other power?
You can see these enemies, by the way. Just want to point that out. But no, so in this, so I don't know how you guys are dealing with these enemies. How I deal with them.
I found a meta, so I'll just say that. I found a meta.
So here's what I do. I run up, I grapple them, and then I immediately force throw them off the edge, and I move on to the next one, and I do it over and over and over again. Now,
there's not always an edge for you.
That's true.
So, yeah, but I can throw them into a wall and they still die, so it's fine. And I can do that. I'll do that repeating over and over again if I have to. But if I do the grapple, it nulls all of the dumb shit that they can do or the annoying things of knocking me down. And I can grapple them and then move them on. Now, here's the problem that I ran into is that this fucking game, when you do the grapples or the finishers for that matter on any of these enemies, it is a canned animation that the camera, whatever angle it needs to be at, will teleport you and the enemy to potentially different locations to do it. And if that happens to be over an edge, then that's what happens. So I got to the point where I stopped doing finishers because it killed me so many times, because I would go to do a finisher and then it would be like, oh, okay, well now we're going to rotate you 90 degrees and put you over an edge. And Starkiller is sitting there fucking floating on the nothing. He's just doing all of his moves and he'll like land on the ground, but there's nothing there. And then as soon as the animation is over, he just goes and puts his and he drops and he dies. And it is, I can't even describe. Like there was one time where I was like, this is the closest I've ever been to throwing a controller. I was like, I'm so frustrated at this game. And so I just stopped doing it. So all I was doing is any single time that an enemy's like, oh, I'm in a finishable state, I just throw the lightsabers and I'm like, die. I don't care. I'm not doing the animation. I don't care what it looks like. I'm not interested.
Alex, was your meta involving Force Lightning?
Not really.
Okay, so mine was you just dash around and you wait for them to kind of attack, so they're kind of a little bit vulnerable then. If you hit them with Force Lightning, they start doing this whole thing and they can't stop, so you just continue to hit them and use your Force... you hit your lightsaber, you attach that with lightning for your combo, and they continue so you are stunned the entire time. That's how I got them.
Yeah. I would do that, but then as soon as I grab them, they just go right off
I
the
never
edge,
grapple.
they die,
I just stun them and just slice them.
Because the grapple move, when he stabs them, and then when he spins around to like shove, they go flying.
Sure, and it's a lot more damage too, for sure.
Yep, so I just send them. I'm just like, bye, off the edge. See you later.
So the only skill that I've maxed out is Force Push.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I have that to level 3, and when you hit it, it's just like a lightning crackle. It's like, boom! So I literally run into the room, and I'm just spamming. And if it's all small enemies, it insta-kills them. They go flying, right? So I just all the stuff starts coming to me. But when it comes to the people that disappear or block the force, I would do that to stun them. And then with the big guys in the room, I would then just hold down lightning until they all got shocked. I just run over, done. But like, I now do 2 buttons. I dash down the hallway, and as soon as I get into the door, I just start hitting the other button and just start force pushing level 3 across the room, taking everybody out instantly.
I'm telling you, the next time, it is so satisfying. The next time you guys fight one of these things, literally just walk up to it, grab it, and then just aim towards an edge, and they just go. And you're like, see ya, I don't have to deal with you anymore, bye. And then you do it to his friend, and you do it to his friend, and you're done.
I did that in the first, when we were outside in the first playthrough.
Yeah.
That's all I did, everybody. I just threw them all off edges. Constantly.
Yeah. Well, so the grapple, when you grapple them and you do like the move, every grapple shoves them away from you afterwards. So you do that, and then you're just like, see ya, boom, and you don't have to deal with it. That's what I did.
So you're going through that a whole bunch. Like I said, waves of enemies.
So they were so annoying.
Yeah, the fire ones, they're the iteration of the ones that would like freeze you, and they're the worst part of it, because the other ones you would freeze, and then you could run up to, slice a whole bunch until they stop freezing, get back, grab the freeze thing, throw it back at them. This one, you're throwing fire at them, which is doing a little bit of tick damage, and you can't hit them, so you have to just sit there, force lightning, grab, throw, they're fired, force lightning, run away, go to the other side of the room because they got too close to you now, and then just rinse and repeat. Way too long to do all that kind of shit. It's
the invisible guys piss me off the most.
Yeah,
because there would be like 4 or 5 of them.
You can't track them.
I would be attacking one of them. Yeah, I didn't know that the Wii version has a whole special power. Yeah. So they jump behind you and they'd be like shock damage, and then Starkiller would be like, it's like, oh,
like
cool.
a little dart gun they use. Yeah.
It's
wonderful.
All this, leads up to like, you got a cool part to where like you can mess with like the guns. I don't know if you guys did that, to where like if you electrocuted the gun, the big giant gun for the ship, it shot the other ship on the other side. So you just electrocute that. That was kind of cool. And then you get to the one part where like you're overcharging like one, you stay on this like thing, this platform, and you're using like your Force Unleashed powers, and like you're charging like, I guess I'll do it myself, and you charge the fucking thing up to shoot, like whatever. And then we get to like the main like battery area where a giant fucking mech spider is there for you to fight. And this motherfucker, A, takes forever. B, you have a bunch of those invisible guys fucking with you while you're trying to take care of him. I've died
And the little
multiple
swarmy
times
guys.
on this guy, and it fucking drove me nuts.
I
The,
didn't.
the little swarmy guys were there too. The ones that
Yep,
were like
mhm.
they're
Yeah.
little
They
spiders.
just
I
that
jump
didn't
on
jump
you,
on
and
you.
like you have to try to do this whole thing. Like, it's like wiggle the thing. I'm like, God damn.
Let me ask you a question. Did Christian? I guess because you haven't played this game before, like me. Did you immediately run to the center and do the mechanic, or did you run along the outside of the room and pull the same thing? As the
And I
NPC
pulled
is
out
just
all the
yelling
batteries,
at you,
and he's
the
like, "You gotta go to the
whole
fucking pylons," and I'm like, "I don't know what that is.
What do you
There's
mean?
nothing here that indicates what the fuck you're talking about." So the only thing I can think of is because he has a shield, and I see giant electrical batteries. So I guess in this game's eyes, my unga bunga brain is like, I guess I'll go get the electric thing because that's what I need.
Did you try and throw it? I did everything. I tried to
Yes.
throw it at it.
Yes,
tried to,
I
like,
shocked
to
it. I
explode.
threw it, and I was like, nothing. I go, fuck this. And then I finally, I ran to the middle, and I saw that one of those things was targetable, and I held it, and then pulled it up, and I went, fuck you. And
Dude,
I just started pulling it up.
I
and
did,
then,
I did the entire room before
and the
I could
hilarious
figure
part
it
was
out.
that, so I pulled all those things out, right? The hilarious part is that after you finish those pylons, then it has you, it explodes, knocks his shield out, you do some damage, and then it goes, you got to put all the batteries back in to do the thing. And it's like, it shouldn't have even went off the first time because I ripped all the batteries out. So why did it go off the first time? This is so dumb. Like I man, it is.
I was
I will
so
say,
pissed.
It is a miracle that this game played. And can I just say, because I'm playing, so you're playing on your Steam Deck and you're playing on your PC. So I'm playing on the Xbox Series X. That, as we know, with backwards compatible titles, it throws the full power of that console at these games for backwards compatible titles. This game still runs like shit. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
Like I am running it on what would be like I'm throwing the full weight of everything that this console can do behind, and it's just like
No.
frame
game
drops
doesn't work.
here. It's the most unoptimized, like barely held together with toothpicks and bubble gum thing. Like, and
I'm not emulating it. I bought
I know
the
you're not. I
game
know.
on
You're playing on
Steam,
your-
and
I
I
just said you're
still
playing on your
missed half the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just don't play.
The game should be fucking
And-
fixed by now. It's
Can I
been
just
ported
say,
5 times.
there's a scene in the middle there, when you're on the Salvation, you're going down. I think it's really fucking funny, where you and Coda are having a conversation before you go down to the middle, right? And he's like, I'm not above begging you, but please, like, come on,
Help us.
and you're just like, help us, yeah. And it's like,
You're here anyway, so you might as well, right?
and he's like, I can't. And then all of a sudden it goes, hard cut. It's like Mr. Glove from Smash Brothers picks your character up
Yeah.
and moved you over an elevator and then dropped you. And so you actually see right before the elevator starts, your character goes pop and like drops to the ground to hit the elevator to go. And it's like, you just picked me up and moved me. Like, the screen was black, but you picked me up and moved me. Like, this is so. Man, it is something else.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
So
It
this is
I-
all. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
This is all leading up to the end part of this level, which is you are on like the command deck essentially. And
I was upset, by the way, when the level didn't end here, because I was like, "Oh, finally, fuck! I caught up. I'm done." And then it was like it was still going. I'm like,
QTE,
"Oh,
baby."
why? I just want to end this goddamn game. Why am I still playing this?"
So in what they thought would be just as cool as bringing out Star Destroyer. Spoiler alert, it's not. It is not anywhere near as cool as that fucking scene from the first game. You're like moving pieces of ship out of the way, tearing apart a Star Destroyer. You're supposed to be very cool. None of this feels very cool. None
No,
of
you
this
tear
looks
apart
good.
an asteroid. Yeah, it all looks bad.
Yeah, it all looks
Yeah.
fucking really horrible. And you get to the point like, okay, we're done. And then at the very end, you're busting out of the fucking front of it and going through a free fall. The only cool part of this entire part 2 is when you're doing the free fall and the ship starts going in front of you and you're kind of just free falling and you're going back to Kamino, which guess what?
Can
the
I
rest of this next part 3 is going to be you on fucking Kamino again, which means that only 3 playable levels.
When the ship comes in front of you and starts to crash into Kamino, where do all of those hundreds of TIE fighters come from?
So, and the best
From
part about
inside
it is that
that
you
cell
can just
behind.
you can just mash the B button and just fucking smoke them all, or you can just do nothing and you'll sail right by, and they don't care, and you don't care.
But like Preston said, it's a beehive. Like hundreds of them come out.
There's
Like, where
no
did they
dock.
just
There's no
come
spaceport
from?
there. You just made a hole there with a ship, and they came out of it. Like I said, a beehive. I'm like, that is. That's why I'm like, that's not. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Dude,
TIE Fighters
so-
Unleashed.
So that is that, and that's where it ends, right? So we land on Kamino.
Land on Kamino, and you're getting shot, and we all had to save and stop.
Yeah.
But yeah,
man,
this replay for me is like, I had rose-tinted glasses. Like, hey, well, I knew it wasn't as great as the first one. Like, but I'm like, there's good cinematics, and like the story was meh, all right, and there's still fun combat. I'm playing through this. I'm like, this game is fucking horrible.
The cinematics that I do see do look good.
They have ILM making them.
The problem is that they only look good.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
They're not
that's it.
the
written well.
content in them, in them is so dumb. And the entire I have never met the story makes it makes zero sense. Nothing. Like Coda is he just doesn't. It is like they got the actors for this game together and said, we have 30 minutes to record this whole game. So go in. And there is no amount of nuance or discussion or anything that happens. It's just I'm arguing with somebody and as soon as I get done speaking, my ears turn off. Like I have to go find Juno. Oh, what about all the rebels? What about all this stuff? Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I didn't hear you. And I'm refusing, and I don't want to know. And then Coda's and Coda can't even understand that he's arguing with a 12-year-old, essentially 12-day-old. Sorry, a toddler. Like you are arguing with a toddler right now, and you're like, but you have to care about all these people. And it's like he doesn't even know.
And you know what's even more disappointing is that you get the wet fart, which is finding Proxy. So you find Proxy.
Oh, dude, the most nothing thing ever. Dude.
It's like, well, we need to put him in here, right? So let's put him in here. He's dying. I'm like, okay, you just wrote that character off like it's fucking nothing. I'd rather you just not put him in the game. And also,
and the best part is that he's alive. He stays alive. Yeah. He talks to you the entire time. He's like, "Hey, Master, don't forget." And it's like, you were missing 2 limbs when I saw. What's happening?
Plugged
with you?
into the computer or some shit? What the fuck's going on?
Or did Coda carry you? I don't know.
So
it doesn't.
He's there to remind you about the boss and the cool character that you don't get to see in the game, which is Boba Fett. Boba Fett's supposed to be hunting you down this entire time, and he tries to tell you in his secret way. He turns into Boba Fett. He's like, Boba Fett's still here. But Boba Fett apparently just controls all the fucking robot droids.
So did he turn into Boba Fett, or was that a vision? Because I thought it was
that was him warning Starkiller that Boba Fett's here.
Yes, he's like, hey, my man,
be careful.
He's still
because this fucker's here. But you'll never see him and fight him.
And you
see the ship leave.
You see Boba Fett twice. You see Boba Fett in the cutscene when Vader hires him, right, to go after you. Or to kidnap Juno, and then because that's what happened. So Juno is kidnapped and she's left, and that's why you have to go back to Kamino's because he took her back there. We're skipping over the minor plot points in this game because that's how angry we are. But it is funny that 4 things fucking happen in this game, and we skipped over. But so, and the second time you see him is in that moment when he escapes with Juno, but you don't even see him. You see the ship, and he's just like, "Meh, see ya," and you're just like, okay. And that's it. I'm assuming. I don't know. I mean, I have Preston already said it sounds like he doesn't show back up.
I don't think he does. I'm trying to remember.
Now maybe in the Wii version.
Yeah, probably in the Wii. You probably have a cool ass fucking fight scene with him in the Wii version.
And, so I wonder, Preston, do you think that your rose-tinted glasses are you remembering your playthrough of the Wii version?
I think it's remembering the first game and not remembering the second game at all.
Really? Okay.
because those had great boss battles with different Jedi that you were hunting down for Darth Vader. Like all these cool things were happening, and I think that like I just thought of like the Force Unleashed 2 as like an addition to the first one, rather than just like a sequel. And I'm like, no, Force Unleashed is great games. They're great games. Like I love them. Like you fight all these cool bosses, like all this fun stuff. And then playing 2, I'm like, all that cool stuff that I remember is all in 1.
Yeah.
There's very little in 2 that other than like the nice cutscenes. That's the only good part.
So
You know what's funny?
here,
Is go ahead.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just gonna share like my
what's
issue
funny
that I noticed.
Is I wonder if I think that there is a way to play through the series and come through it being like, this wasn't so bad, and it's you play through the first one and then you play the Wii version of the second one, and you go, yeah, this is good, this is fine.
Yeah.
Like even
didn't need the second
even
one,
with the
but it's
Wii,
okay.
yeah, and now obviously the story is still mostly the same. It will still hit the same points, but the thing like there's way more context that's added. There's things that happen in the middle. Like I said, when you leave Kamino the first time, having Vader chase you through Kamino and like throw buildings at you and shit makes infinitely more. And Starkiller's like freaking out, like he's like, "Ah, fuck, man, I gotta get out of here. And this fucking psychopath is chasing me and doing all these things." That's exactly how that should feel and go, right? But so I think with all of that added stuff, there's a way that you can be like, this was a good. I had a fair to good experience playing through. Exactly. But when you play through the PS3 and 360 versions, you're just like, man, I'm so glad I never bought this game, but I cannot imagine being a Star Wars fan like you, Preston,
Collector's edition.
and paying over $60 for this game, getting home, playing this, and then being like,
Finishing it in like a day, maybe 2.
oh, I
I actually find it offensive that the game that I got on Steam isn't the better Wii port back over to PC, and it's the Xbox
Might as well.
version.
Because I think it launched. Because I think the Steam version launched day and date with that. Like I don't think it's. Plus it has motion controls in it, right? So there's nothing you can, like you can't you wouldn't be able to do anything with that.
I think you're right. Like I think you could play a version of this where the story is good, but like I don't
Passable.
know.
I wouldn't say
Fine.
good, but
Just
passable.
fine. Just give me fine. I don't need good.
I'm torn because
to it.
the longer we go in this game, the more issue I notice with the concept. So like you're right, it is one of the biggest sequels that didn't need to happen because Starkiller sacrificed himself. There's only one way that first game could end, which is with like the most powerful person there dying, right? Because at the time, before Legends, like canonically, it wouldn't make any sense.
And that was considered
for him
canon.
to
Like
still-
Lucas
Right,
and like the state and
right.
everything that came out said like this is canon. Like
Yeah,
we're letting this be canon.
Yeah.
So it couldn't be like a thing. Like
So
he had to die. There's only one way to get
Yeah.
it. But this one, the problem that I'm continuing to have this one, I run around and I am so powerful. And I don't know how this is
Well,
going to end.
kinda,
but
right?
No,
because you're super powerful to stormtroopers, but then random fucking little enemies can like hit you, and you're like, oh god, and you fall over and don't do
Sure,
anything.
But also
Yeah.
in the first half of the cutscene, I'm just catching TIE fighters with my hands and smashing them and throwing right.
But
like
the spider can
that's-
hit you.
but a little
I'm so-
spider robot can.
Right. But I don't know how this one's going to end. And I think there's only one way it can end, which would be redundant. But like, without it being Legends now, think back to the day, I'm so powerful, and now all of a sudden I'm with the Rebellion. Like, I could just take out the Sith with how powerful I am, and I'm getting distracted by this other stuff. And like, on a power scale, your character just doesn't even make sense in this
And
universe.
can
'Cause
I
I
just
could
say-
put
well, not
everything
only
to
that,
an end. Like, it's just...
But not only that, but let's cut to because this would happen after the Death Star, right?
All right, so
So-
I'm thinking.
I
I'm thinking about
looked
now.
it up.
But I think
I
it's
looked it
it's
up.
after. No, it's before everything because this is in between. I'm sorry, I thought wrong.
Oh,
I'm playing too
okay.
many Star Wars games at once right now. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Jedi Outcast is as I'm thinking about when I talk timeline. This is in between the two trilogies, the prequels and the
Correct.
sequels. So
It
you're
is
hunting
God
Jedi
of
for
War.
Darth
So
Vader's
that's
Rise of
War
why.
and New
So
Hope.
it's
Yes.
No Death
as
Star yet.
Yoda.
Well, there
It
is,
is
but
as
no,
Yoda exiles himself today,
Yes,
but
yes,
before
okay,
Luke and all.
yes.
Okay, because that was my point.
That
was
makes sense now. I
was like, it makes no sense that Coda is the one here being the general. It's like, what the fuck is Luke doing?
Yeah, right.
Like,
no Luke.
because
Luke.
because I will say
Baby
that
Luke's around.
right, but so because that's one of the things that I talked about. This is a long time ago, but when I was doing my first watch through of Mandalorian, right, Preston, you were telling me that there was, for as long as I've known you, what have I always said? I've always wanted to be like, there is a certain point after, like, when Luke is around where Luke is literally the strongest being in the universe, and I want to see the stuff where it's Luke walking onto the battlefield and everyone goes, oh fucking god, like the nuke just got dropped, and Luke's like, and you see they actually do show it in Mandalorian, right, where
They do.
he shows up and he fucks,
bing, bing,
he,
bing, bing, bing,
and
through
he goes
everybody.
through,
Most
and he
badass.
it's so sick, dude. It's so cool, and it's exactly what you want, because you're just like, it makes sense because you're the only, in a world that has no magic left in it, you are the only person who has
Dude,
full control.
You're scary
over everything.
He scares Giancarlo Esposito. You know he's a fucking scary motherfucker.
So that's what I'm saying,
He
right?
was
It's like,
fucking
so
frightened.
yeah, so that's what I love. So this entire time, that's what I was thinking though. Is I'm like, why is he here? Like, why is he not here? But now that you
Yeah,
say
I'm
that,
sorry.
it makes more
When
sense.
I
But
said earlier, that was my muddled
either
brain.
way,
Too many sauces.
I still think it's fucking crazy to me then that, because at that point we know that there's at least a handful of Jedi left around that time.
You were helping Darth Vader cull most of them, as far as destroy most of them
Right.
that were left.
Yeah, in the first game, right?
Yes.
And so, but I think it's just funny to me that there are two left between Coda and yourself, and the fact that neither of you have any sort of brain cell to rub together to be like, maybe we should talk about this.
Don't forget Obi-Wan's hanging out somewhere.
True.
I mean,
And
you,
so-
you do have other people out there.
Yeah, there's plenty of other
But
Jedi
this
that
is
we don't know
this is
about
my
out
point.
there.
Is that I'm just
Ahsoka's out
sitting
there
here and I'm
somewhere.
like,
Yeah.
if you are part of the Jedi Order still, and you see all of this happening, and you hear, even if you hear post, maybe it makes sense that you're not there for the first game, right? You hear all these things, but you're off planet, you're whatever. It might be too much, but then you hear that the rebels are still basically alive and kicking, and that an ex-Imperial person and a blind Jedi are running it. How is your brain not to go, I should probably go help them, instead of just being like, no, I guess I
would
won't
say
do that.
it would be the Imperial are like quelling the idea because they don't want everyone to hear about the rebellion because that would get more followers. So I guarantee they're stopping communications of what's happening unless you're in the know.
But they still know they still know, not because all the cutscenes are them talking about them like there's a whole rebel council that has to be consulted when they want to take action and do certain things. So there's at least enough of them to still have some form of government where they have to fucking yuck it up and chat about things and go, oh no, we can't do nothing, or whatever they do. It's
Tell me
fun.
what
But
to
then,
do, Mon Mothma Mummy.
so then they complain about it, but then it's just funny that Coda and Star...
Mothma.
Mommy Mothma.
But then it's so funny that Coda and Starkiller are sitting there basically just... They're not talking to each other. They're talking to themselves in each other's presence. That's what it feels like. It's like Starkiller is having a conversation where there's two cars next to each other, and they have already rolled the windows up against each other. And so Starkiller is like, I gotta find Juno. I have to find Juno.
Coda's in the other car going, what are
And
you
then
on
Coda's
about?
like, yeah. And Coda's in the other car, so whatever. And they both can't hear each other, and they're both just ignoring each other,
Having the same
driving.
conversation.
But they're driving to the same location, talking about what the other. It's just it is unbelievable how bad the writing is.
But that's also my problem with the power discrepancy, right? Like, even without those other Jedi, you are doing things as Starkiller, even as a clone, that other Jedi can't even, like, it doesn't even matter if they're there.
Yeah.
Because literally, the most we ever saw Luke do was raise an X-Wing out of the water. But he even struggled with that for a while, right? And I know he got stronger, but, like, he talks about in the newer series, I get it, canon legends, what have you, like, of how Kylo was so strong, he didn't know it. But this dude is running around, diving through the atmosphere,
Yeah.
crushing TIE fighters by the dozens,
Just landing.
breaking apart asteroids. And all
And it
this
does a
stuff.
superhero landing.
Yeah.
And nobody's like, hey man, you're real like, can you end this for us?
Well,
because
so
sometimes
Coda
he's
does-
powerful and other times he's not. Like it just
So
the
Coda does say
discrepancy is
that.
so weird.
That's the problem, is that Coda does say
He
that.
wants
Coda
that.
begs him. Coda's like, we need your help to do
Stop
this.
this for us.
And instead of saying anything that would be more than that, of trying to convince him, like, hey man, you're powerful enough that you can probably do both. Like, if we end the Imperials, you'll also be saving Juno at the same time, right? Like, you not just don't go save Juno, then fuck off. That's not real. Like, that doesn't make any sense, because they'll never stop hunting you. Let's kill the Imperial army, and then you can go save Juno, and then we all get to live happily ever after. Anything, but he just goes, no, we need your help. To which Starkiller responds, I can't.
Yeah, I got other stuff.
And, there, and there's and
I
then
got- I
there's
gotta do
no
this.
I'm busy.
and there's no why, there's no anything from Kato. So Kato goes, ugh, just fine, and then just like accepts the answer,
Oh,
and you're like,
child.
oh, and you're like, I guess you didn't care that much about it, dude. And it's so funny because he, like, Starkiller will try to explain to him, like, I'm a clone. I'm not the person that you know. He'll say that, and then although he's driven by the same
But
motivation,
he's driven by
Yeah,
he's driven by the same.
but that's
memories,
whatever.
so-
That's don't talk about that.
Yeah.
But I'm not the person you know. But then Coda will go, no, you are the person that I know. Darth Vader lied to you because it is impossible to clone a Jedi. And then in the middle, like he sees, but Coda saying that and being like, it's impossible. And that is like, to your point, Alex, is you are seeing somebody who is so strong that he's re-entering orbits and smashing things, but cloning is the step that's too far. and also, like, yeah, sure, like, you think that he hasn't been able to clone a Jedi yet, but they were able to make the whole army of clones, and they seem to do that just fine. So it's not that big of a jump to figure out that, oh man, it's been some years since they
And-
made the whole clone army. Maybe they could figure out how to pump the Force juice into one of them. Like, it's so stupid.
That's what Star Wars has been
Was
trying to
this-
do for
was
the past
this-
like couple decades.
Was this pre or post for 1, 2, and 3?
This is post.
It's post 1, 2, 3.
Post in the storyline, but did it actually come out
After
after
the
1, 2, and 3
movies.
came out?
Yes.
So midichlorians had been introduced by that
Yes.
point. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But also, many
Yeah,
are
so-
introduced, and they still have this issue in The Mandalorian to where that's why
That's what I'm
Grogu's
saying.
get taken, because they want to try to figure out how to clone.
But so that's my point, is that it's just, I think it's so funny how, like, just and I'm sure, I don't know this to be fact, but I'm sure that when we get onto the Camino facility, we're going to get in here and it'll be like hundreds of Star Killers floating in a tube, because, and then I guarantee you till the final minute.
I hope they look just like Emperor Palpatine in the newest trilogy, of just like all of those Snoke clones and stuff that were in that movie.
Christian.
I know. I think that
you
they'll
just
be
wait.
like, I think they'll be like nude,
On Exegol.
bald little like
goopy
like
dudes, maybe. Yeah.
like bean people. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I think. And
Bean people.
And I
Mindless
think
being
the-
force beings.
and I'm guaranteeing that Coda will be indignant till the last moment. He'll, no, it's not real. No.
Could you? Sorry,
Seeing
side note,
them in
could
front
you-
of his
could
face,
you
it would know.
imagine? Could you imagine if you walked into a place and it was just a little bunch of like little force fetuses hanging out? And
No,
it went
I just
from,
meant,
no,
like-
it went from a Star Wars game to a fucking Silent Hill game where they all just crash out of
Dead
that
Space
and
game.
start
You know what?
coming at-
There's probably a better game there.
There is a better game.
I'm just gonna
It's
say.
not going to happen, though. Hate to push
But
it,
I
but
think-
5 hours in, it just changes genre.
You better-
From
Yeah.
action to horror. Instantly.
Honestly, I would welcome it. I would be like, oh, thank God, I'm done with that shit. Like, but by being, I don't mean the size. I just mean like the smoothness. Like, they'll be like really wet and slimy, bald people. That's what I'm gonna assume. They'll be like Star Killer, but just a little fucked up.
Not
Like,
Do you think they'll have the Star Killer 5 o'clock shadow? Like, do you think
No.
even in
That's what I'm
even
saying,
in
they'll
the
be-
test tube they will have grown?
no,
facial
that's what I
hair?
think is they're gonna be all slimy and clean.
They're gonna be like
Yeah.
Neo in the Matrix when he comes out as a little.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Yes.
I know what you're thinking.
Yep. And there'll be hundreds of them.
So I do have one last thing I wanted to mention. I was curious about this because I wanted to ask you guys. So I had an audio issue. Everything was fine in the game, but there's a section in the game to where you're having to stop these like spinny things, right? You stop them, you slow them down, you get past them. When you stopped them, did it make the most obnoxiously loud, gut-wrenching sound? Because I turned my sound effects down, and that's the one sound effects that doesn't go down.
No, I didn't know.
It's just like that, but like amplified by 1,000. So like I'm watching Christian play EDF while I'm playing this, and I have to like mute my microphone while I'm talking to them because like it just goes, just fucking horrible goddamn
No,
noise. I'm
will-
like, oh my god.
So you know what?
I
You know
did
what
this
issue
to be over.
I did have an issue there. When you get too close to it and you stop it, you realize that it's not a 3D model. It's
not.
And it's just like it's a 2D
It
image.
looks horrible.
It is a 2D
super
image.
funny.
I'm sitting there, I'm
No.
looking at the side of it. I'm like, oh god.
The thing that I had in that moment that I thought was hilarious is I think it's so funny that your saber throw can go miles or only 4 feet, just depending on, I guess, your feelings. Because so in that final one that you have to stop, there's a little, I don't know if it's an ATST or an ATAT, whatever
Chicken
the fuck
walker.
it is, but sure. One of those fucking things is on the other side. And it was just close enough that if I push myself up against the model of that thing without going, I can throw my lightsabers all the way across that entire room and hit it. So I just juggled it into a corner before I could even trigger it, get in, and then as soon as I trigger it, a cutscene happens to where a camera flies into where that thing is supposed to be, but nothing's there, and then it goes, and then like cuts to me, and then the door opens and I can walk through it, and I was like, I like, it's just, but I just think it's hilarious that but then after that, if I go to throw my lightsabers again, he's like, and then they like go like just a little bit from you and then come back. But if there's something that I can target, man, you can let those things fucking rip from a football field away and they'll come right back to you. But you know, it's just so I just think it's hilarious. I think
Choices were made.
there are probably more binary settings in this code than maybe any game that has came before it. I think that there is the level of if then statements that have a true or like a Boolean like output is probably more. I would have to imagine it's more than any, just so that they could get the game playable, because there's probably so many times where like for instance, Alex, when we ripped those batteries out of the wall, the game should have. One, it shouldn't let you do that in the first place.
No,
there
that should be a second phase thing.
should be a lock.
There should have been walls there that as soon as it goes off to vent, the walls open up and then the batteries are there and you go, oh, and then they shoot out and then you have to go put them back in, right?
Yeah.
But when we pulled those batteries out, it shouldn't have worked. It
Nope.
should have stopped. And the fact that they didn't and then it still goes off tells me that that is just a true false that is like, hey, it is off at this moment. And then these slots are now on after this happens. Like, that's it. It does not matter what you do after that or before that. Like, man.
And the second playthrough just turned up the level of like what we complained about the first time, which is the levels are too long. They go on too long. Like
And what's
you're
funny is-
expecting every room to be the last on the Salvation, and it just keeps going.
And what's funny is the average time for these levels is 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's still too long. And that's, you know what I'm saying? Like
It feels
because
much
that-
longer than that.
in any other situation, if a game was like, you would be like, if a game had a whole zone. Well, first of all, if you had a game that had something like Dagobah in it, you'd be like, this is who greenlit this?
Just play a cutscene and be done with it.
Yeah, but in this, it's like if you had a whole section that happened like that and they just like blew past it, you would be like, this is one of the worst things. Like you would be like, who did this? I need to come find you and talk to you.
It's like a picture you shoot for a movie to put in the trailer, And they just did that so they could put it in the trailer of like Dagobah, Yoda, and it has nothing to do with the video game.
Because in this game, though, when 30 minutes go by, you're like, the second 10 minutes go by in a level, you want to just be pressing the wrap it up light, and you're like, why are we still here? I have nothing left to do. And that's crazy to me, because in any other situation, you'd be like, I can't believe these levels are so short.
I'm sure you probably noticed on the Salvation either bad level design and the duplication of assets, or it's just the way they design a level. You make your way through hallways, then you platform through like the torn up area, and then you get to the red door, the red lights, and the spinny things we were just talking about, right? The spinny things you have to jump through. That's the end of the level, right? In design, and you literally double back on yourself. You're going to the bridge, and you're supposed to be going to a different area, but you're actually doubling back on yourself in the map, going backwards to the exact same thing you came through with new spawn enemies. And I think they thought nobody would notice.
No, they did. No, I think they knew it, and they did it on purpose, because that's the design of the whole game. Because you already spent the whole game doubling back to immediately where you began in the first place.
Yeah.
If you didn't think there's enough levels in this game, guess what? We're going to recycle one of them for you right at the end.
I imagine that what happened was, and I'm still upset that this was from the first game and not from this game, and I just misremembered it, but because at least I was robbed from the one piece of joy that I thought I was going to find in it, which is, but I do imagine that there's the point where Preston has been playing this, and he's sitting there, and he's like, God, I really thought this game was good. I thought I remember it being good. And then Vader sticks his head into his apartment, and he's like, I lied.
It's not great.
I feel really bad, because I know there was genuine excitement that started.
If I thought this was a bad game in my head, like when I started this, I wouldn't have brought this to the table as my first game to bring.
But hey, you know what's part of book club? You're checking to see if things still hold up, right?
There is. It's funny to say there is good in it. Like Sam, whatever his name is.
Whitwer.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good. Like the writing is bad. The writing is bad, but like
his delivery is good. And I
will say,
delivery
is good.
I agree.
And the cutscenes look good.
The problem is that if I was him, I would have been like, no.
So
the worst part too is he's a huge
like
Star Wars nerd.
So that's the whole thing. He's same Whitwer is like what Henry Cavill is to like Witcher.
Yeah.
Like that's what Whitwer is. Like Tori, he was like when Whitwer was doing Darth Maul, the voice for Darth Maul in like Rebels and Clone Wars. Like he was schooling Filoni. Like he was like, okay, Maul wouldn't do this, or this wouldn't happen in Star Wars. And Dave Filoni's like, shit, you're right. Like that's the level of like fandom that Whitwer has.
Yeah.
He should have written this fucking game.
I'm saying he should have said, like, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm not putting my name on this. Go fuck yourself.
I think though I think at the time it's
I'm
money,
sure.
And I think at the time it was also, can I turn this into something live action if people love Starkiller because they did from the first one, which it could have been true, and it's unfortunate. For him.
Now, and the other problem is that for voice acting and motion capture, right? Like, you don't know what that game looks like by the time your job is done. Like when you're done, and you everything now. There's an argument to be made that he probably had some sort of idea, because the first game probably took him years and years, and the second one probably took him like a week and a half. But in general, you don't really know until the game is out, and then you're like, oh boy, I really put my name on something that sucks ass. But no, I mean that is, I will say that is the game's one. There is one saving grace in it, is that he is and you know that he really does love the thing, so like he's cool in it. But man, what a disservice to the fucking character, though.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I don't know how much you guys have been exploring, but I ran into one thing in the game this time around that I hadn't actually run into any other time, which was one of those little red crystals you could find. The skill ones was like up in the corner in the hangar, and it required you to stack 2 boxes to jump up on it. And it's the only time in this game it hasn't been head level that you just run through it.
Yep.
Like, why? Why, like, 3/4 of this game would you require you to, like, complete a puzzle? Of,
I
like,
can't even
stacking
tell you.
2 boxes to get
I can't even
to
tell
it.
you how much. There was a couple times that I saw like a door sort of like half open or something. And it would be like, oh, it clearly wants me to go check that area out. And then I go, anyways, and I would just go right to where I was. I think it's so funny too. The force sense where he just bops his forehead and it tells him exactly where he needs to go. It is the next time you guys get on, just mash the up on the D-pad so that you can the animation for him doing it. It is expecting that you will do like a full press, right? So like if you just mash it, there's a little bit where he just goes, but he doesn't actually get all the way there. It's really funny. I
haven't used that.
I don't know how I find things like that.
I
in
haven't
games,
used it either.
But yeah, it's.
I mean, the
just
game is so linear. Like, I don't know
don't need
why
it.
you would
I know,
need
no,
to use it.
But there's time. So there's time. Like when I used it, the only time that I've used it is the boss fight that Alex and I were complaining about, where I was like, draw me a map, mama. Like I don't know where I'm supposed to go, dude. Like I don't. And so I was like pressing it, and then nothing happens. But then I realized because I tapped it, and he goes, and doesn't go all the way. So I'm like sitting there and I start mashing it. Now, mind you, I'm in the middle of a boss arena with this fucking thing clanking around, and all I see is and I'm sitting here mashing the button for Starkiller to go. Like it's just, I have to find.
I'm just
you have
happy
to
you
make
say
your
that.
own
Like,
fun.
I wasn't gonna talk about that boss fight, other than my frustration of the enemies and stuff, because I felt like such an idiot. I spent 5 minutes. I spent 5 minutes running around the outside. I was doing everything I could before I did what you did, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shock this thing and throw it, but I need to give myself some time. So let's run behind these things so the enemy like jet packs himself across. And when I got over there, I was like, oh, R trigger. And then I don't know if you guys ran into this too, and we should have talked about this earlier, but in that boss fight, I got stuck because I was running around and I got the first one and the enemy was on the backside, and I got the second one that was on the backside. I got the third one that was on the backside.
and then he turns around.
He's standing in front of the fourth one and never moves. So I'm trying to do it as he's just like stepping on me every 3 seconds, knocking me out.
And so then you would get over there, and then he would turn around, and then you go, okay, fine, I'll go to the other side. And he'll follow me around. But you move so much faster than he does that by the time you get to the other side, he turns around and goes, okay, I'll go this way now. You literally, I had to wait and make him, I had to sit on the other side and wait so that he would walk to the halfway point, and then I would run over and go do it. It is, man, it is something. It is something.
It is something. It's a game.
It is a video game. I do have it on good authority. And I know it is a video game.
I pressed a button and did something at one point.
I mean, like,
sure
I will
is.
say, I cannot say I'm having fun with this game. I am having fun talking about this game.
Yes.
And
The
it is an
book club still remains
experience.
fun. Yes.
Yeah.
After
but-
this,
Boy,
I will, unless I'm doing like a full run of the Force Unleashed at one point. Like I think there's a reason why I haven't played this game for over 10 years.
I
100%.
looked to see where Force Unleashed 2 was available. Because I have the ability to play it on the thing I travel with, and I was like, where is it? It doesn't exist anywhere. Like,
no. Yeah.
no. Yeah.
They re-released the Jedi Knight games, but they don't do it for the Force Unleashed because it's not worth it. Because the second one's bad.
Yep.
If
And they
you're
don't
first,
want
you have
people
to
to
do the
think
second.
about it, and they don't want people to talk about it. Yeah. Even though the first one fucking rules.
Yeah, and if they do it, they have to put up both, and they don't want to put the second one again. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, Preston, before we head out here tonight, what do you got for us?
still the same old, shame old. Join us on Snapping Sundays. As long as I actually get some good cards on those Spotlight caches, I will be continuing to do so.
It's gonna take you so much more to quit that game.
It
I'm
will.
just saying
It will.
now. It will.
Dude, I wasn't doing well with my continuous deck that I got Infinite last time, and then they had that on top of it. Like I was just feeling a little sour on it. I just needed a whole new change. So new deck, new me. Don't worry about the Spotlight caches. Just have fun. Who cares? And then Wednesdays, Jedi Outcast. We'll go through that. Other than that, that's all.
If you haven't joined the Wednesday streams, by the way, like we always have fun with a lot of people join, right? We always have fun talking. But if you haven't had a chance to join those, the last couple games you've played have been real funny.
Yeah.
Like just the quality and the age, they're real. It's a good time.
Alexa has the same. I forgot to say this last time we were talking about this, but Alexa has the same opinion that Allie does, where she walks in, she goes, "Good God, this game looks like shit." And I'm like, I just want to turn every single time.
There's a difference for Allie that like she'll say that about games I'm playing, but she will sit down and also watch Preston stream the entire time and not complain about how bad it looks because she's watching it to make fun of it.
Yeah.
So it's a different experience. But yes,
not to enjoy.
Final Fantasy X, she'll walk in, she'll be like, ugh. Why is he running like that? This is stupid. And walking, I was like, it's 25 years old, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I like it, leave me alone. It's my childhood. That's it. That's all we got. Check us out on the YouTubes. I'll be putting the Jedi Outcast on there. Just made the new intro for that. It was fun. That's all I got.
All right. Well, with that, next week we'll bring the final part of this book club where Christian will announce what game we're playing next.
I'm excited. I don't know what it is.
I am too,
I
and I hope it takes a little bit because I have no idea what we're playing next on my turn. So I gotta figure something out. But anyway, we're excited to finish up this game and talk more about it. With that, Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it.
This has been The Testing Room. Music by @DamienCrow on Instagram. Logo and art by @RavePet. Interact with us on Instagram and Twitter @TestingRoomPod or email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and all of your favorite podcasting apps, and make sure to share us with your friends. Thanks, and see you next time.